Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to BizChicksTV. This is the place for tips, tools, and strategies, everything you need to take the hassle out of your hustle and to build a profitable business that's fun to run. Today is Friday. That means it's time to talk tech. Tech Life Weekly happens every Friday right here at this time. And TJ will be in to give us some social media news updates. Dr. Tachi will be in to give us what's happening in the world of media. And I'm going to start us off with this day in tech history. Let's find out what went on. And let's talk. We're going to talk. Oh boy, we've got a lot of little things here. And let's get this underway. All right. So the concept of the World Wide Web, November 12, 1990, at about 2.5 years after he first submitted a proposal to his employer, CERN, CERN, for developing a new way of linking and sharing information at the European Research Institute, Tim Berners-Lee submits a formal proposal for a hypertext project he calls World Wide Web. In this proposal, he lays out his vision for what will become the modern World Wide Web. By Christmas Day, he will have the prototypes of a web server and a web browser operational. By the end of February of the next year, he will present the project to his colleagues at CERN. By May, the first web server will go online internally at CERN, and by August, having realized the full potential for his new system on the internet at large, he will announce the project publicly on the alt.hypertext Usenet group, along with the first public web server hosted at CERN. That's November 12th, 1990. November 12, 2000, Bill Gates demonstrates a functional prototype of a tablet PC. Microsoft claims the tablet PC will represent the next major evolution in PC design and functionality. However, the tablet PC initiative never really takes off, and isn't until Apple introduced the iPad in 2010 that tablet computing is widely adopted. In the opinion of the author of this post, Microsoft's failure with the tablet PC initiative was threefold. First, they simply tried to adapt Windows, an operating system designed for use with a keyboard and a mouse, for use with a touchscreen pen interface. Users never really warmed up to the awkward hybrid interface. Second, by their own words, they were incorporating the convenient and intuitive aspects of pencil and paper into the PC experience. Rather than innovating, it appears to the author that Microsoft was moving backwards by trying to graft an older paradigm, pen and paper, onto a computer. It's one thing to create an app or peripheral that mimics pen and paper. It's another to base an entire technology around it. And finally, Microsoft left the design of the hardware to their OEM partners, most of whom are not especially well known for innovating designs. Most tablet PCs were considered too big, heavy, and expensive. Plus, the required pen and stylus was prone to loss. All of these factors left many in tablet PCs collecting dust if they were sold at all. Likely, the lessons that Microsoft learned from this early effort led to Microsoft manufacturing their own hardware for their Surface tablets starting in the late 2010s, mimicking the model that Apple had proved successful. November 13th, 1851, laid by British telegraphic engineer John Watkins Brett and his brother Jacob Brett, the world's first operational underwater telegraph cable opens for business, connecting the English city of Dover to the French city of Calais, the cable was ran at the narrowest point of the English Channel. With this link, communication between London and Paris was made possible. That is November 13, 1851. November 14th, 1971, NASA's Mariner 9 reaches the planet Mars and becomes the first man-made object to orbit another planet. Mariner 8 was scheduled to be the first. However, due to launch problems, it failed to make it out of Earth's atmosphere. The Soviet Mars 2 and Mars 3 space probes reached the planet on November 27th and December 2nd, respectively. Mariner 9 completed its mission of photographing the surface of Mars, transmitting 7,329 images covering 100% of the planet's surface. While out of fuel, Mariner 9 still orbits Mars to this day. It's expected to stay in orbit until about, it should be out because when this was written, it was expected to stay in orbit until the year 2022, when it will enter the planet's surface and either burn up or crash into the surface. Let's go on to our next story. Intel bugs out. 1 week, this is November 14th, 1997. 1 week after reports surfaced identifying a flaw in certain Pentium processors, Intel releases a software workaround for operating systems to avoid the commonly named FO bug, a very specific invalid operation passed to the affected processors would cause the processor to lock up, causing the computer and any software running on it to freeze. Identified by Intel as the invalid operand with lock compare exchange 8-byte instruction erratum. The flaw, while potentially a serious problem, was practically little more than a PR headache, as the invalid operation that triggered the process to lock up was never encountered in real-world operations. Additionally, the bug only affected the older Pentium processors, not the Pentium 2 and the Pentium Pro processors Intel was currently shipping at the time. However, the workaround was necessary as the malicious software could have exploited the flaw and caused serious problems for PCs and servers using the affected processor. November 14th, 2006, Microsoft introduces Zune. Microsoft releases their Zune media player intended to compete with Apple's iPod. Hailed by some as an iPod killer, the only killing done was by Microsoft's less than 5 years later, when they ended production of the Zune brand. Otherwise known as simply another media player to fail to iPod, the Zune is considered a spectacular failure when taking into account the weight of the Microsoft brand at the time. The Zune's lack of success foreshadowed of the decline of Microsoft in the new world of technology, once Apple introduced the iPhone and iPad, effectively ending the PC era. November 15th, 1971, an advertisement in the magazine Electronic News announces the Intel 4004, the first commercially available microprocessor. It was primarily used in calculators, and it was Intel engineers reduced the 12 integrated circuit design that the people had come up with and delivered the finished product in January 1971. By offering the first general purpose programmable processor to the general market, Intel spurred the rapid development of electronic devices in the 1970s. However, Intel wasn't the clear leader in the microprocessor market until the IBM PC and clones helped to catapult Intel to that title in the 1980s. November 16th, 1904, John Ambrose Fleming applies for a U.S. patent on what he called the oscillating valve, the first example of the vacuum tube. Vacuum tubes would form the basis of electronic technology for nearly 50 years until the development of the transistor. Fleming's invention has been described as one of the most important developments in the history of electronics. November 16th, 1982, Steve Jobs writes a letter to Macintosh Labs asking for the rights to use Macintosh as the brand name of Apple's still in development computer. Macintosh Labs makes a high-end stereo equipment, while Jeff Raskin, creator of the Macintosh project, intentionally spelled the name with a letter A to differentiate Apple's computer from Macintosh's audio products. Apple was denied a trademark because the name was phonetically identical. Since the Macintosh team had become attached to the name, Steve Jobs wrote the letter hoping to get permission or a licensing arrangement. Gordon Gao, president of Macintosh Labs, visited Apple's headquarters for a product demonstration after receiving the letter. However, Macintosh lawyers advised Gao to reject the request. It wasn't until March of 1983 that Apple secured a license for the name Macintosh. In 1986, Apple wholly acquired the trademark for an undisclosed substantial amount of money. November 17th, 1970. Douglas Engelbart receives a U.S. patent number 3,541,541 for his X by Y position indicator for a display system, more commonly known as the computer mouse. Engelbart called his device a mouse because the cord looked like a tail. The mouse was first prototyped in 1964, but wasn't demoed until 1968 and was not included with a commercial computer until the Xerox 8010 Star information system in 1981. Apple first brought the mouse to a personal computer with the Lisa in 1983. However, the mouse did not become ubiquitous until after 1984, when Apple's Macintosh popularized the device. Now, that is your week in tech history. We do have some tech making history, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Wherever my little notes are here. Okay, so there's a new White House strategy aiming for airwaves cooperation. The Biden administration unveiled its national spectrum strategy on Monday, laying out how the federal government can better coordinate to free up valuable radio frequencies for the country's connectivity needs. Access to the invisible airwaves that allow smartphones and a plethora of other connected devices to communicate with each other is an increasingly hot button topic as government users, especially national security agencies and the private sector, jockey for use of the same bands. The White House's blueprint aims to ease some of the competition by establishing a pipeline that makes new spectrum bands available for commercial use, guiding a long-term planning effort to keep up with evolving spectrum needs and encouraging innovative methods for sharing valuable bands among multiple users. Spectrum is a limited resource that enables the everyday and the extraordinary, from checking the weather on our phone to traveling into space. As demand for this resource increases, the U.S. will continue to lead the world in spectrum innovation. And President Biden's bold vision for the spectrum policy will provide the foundation for that leadership, says the Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, in a statement. The strategy hits on an increasingly rare point of bipartisan agreement. House Energy and Commerce Committee leaders Kathy McMorris Rogers, a Washington Republican, and Frank Pallone, a New Jersey Democrat, praised the roadmap in a joint statement. They noted that a clear spectrum leadership plan impacts everything from our military's radar capabilities to the mobile broadband and GPS systems Americans rely on every day. Now, Terry is out today, but she did send over some stories that she'd like to share. So we're going to talk about this. One of her stories is United Airlines buying 200 air taxis. So we're going to take a look at this video that she sent over. And I am going to click on it now. It's a story from USA Today. And let's take a look. Let me get it set up here. And we're going to run past that. Little commercials are running, so please stand by. Okay, so I am going to do this. Oh, I need to do that first. Go like this. Good morning. We're going to take a look at airlines that have bought some air taxis. So I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see this. And we're going to the flying car is landing soon. Seven Sky Switchblade is a two-seated aircraft. When in driving mode, the vehicle's wings receptive to a car. If it's in the garage, you can switch the flight mode in under 3 minutes with a vehicle that switches from ground to air. And you have to have a pilot's license to operate it. And it can only fly and land at airport. Flying car will cost between $170,000 to $195,000. This is interesting.
Introducing unbeatable value for all businesses.
That was interesting. A flying car. I'm reading some of Terry's stories here. The flying car, the flying sports car.
Oh, okay.
$170,000 to $195,000. That's not bad because that's like a Bugatti or a Rolls or something anyway, right? But this can take off into the air. She also has, okay, that's the new flying sports car. I thought she sent me something else. Let me see what this is doing. Yeah, I just read that. So it's a new flying sports car, and it's landing in homes and garages soon.
Okay.
And it had been tested for 14 years. It's a flying sports car, the Samsung Sky Switchblade. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
You do have to have a pilot's license.
Of course.
Well, you know, some people might think, well, it's a car. No, you're going above ground. Let's see. I think that is all I have from Terry today. And then she did have another story about United Airlines buying 200 electric air taxis. I'm thinking, okay. So we got electric. Well, we have unmanned taxis in San Francisco and other places, and now we have taxis that are electric, air taxis. I'm like, okay. And I think this is United. I'm going in here to see if I can find this story.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, here it is. United agreed to purchase 200 four-seat electric aircraft from Eve Air Mobility. The carrier has options for 200 additional aircraft and said it will invest $15 million. The investment follows a deposit of $10 million on Archer's electric aircraft. Okay. So you can take 4 people at a time, right? Okay. And then it's for vertical takeoff. So you don't need like a runway to take off. It's a vertical leap. Interesting.
It is. Wow.
And they said that according to San Francisco Chronicle, all electric flying taxis will be at San Francisco Airport by 2006. This is according to American Airlines.
Good to know.
As long as they got a person driving, I'm cool. I'm really cool with it because yeah, okay. All right, and so that is TJ. If you're ready,
let me check one thing. I was just checking one thing on ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, good.
I think we talked about. Let me see. Yeah, we are. Yeah, okay. I thought maybe it had something new. Okay.
No, this is
all right.
Here.
Well, I'm ready if you want me to go.
Right, you are good to go. I'm going to send this link over to Dr. Tachi because I forgot to do that.
Oh, okay. Let me pull up my notes. There's so many things, so many updates this week, but it's like, okay, we can't talk about all of them. I just try to get the biggest ones. The ones where we go,
Yeah. So yeah, things are happening in tech everywhere.
Oh, speaking of tech, real quick while I'm doing this, did you see? I glanced at this somewhere online, one of my social media apps. I cannot remember his name. Is it Marcus Brownlee?
Mm-hmm.
He was on the cover of Fast Company magazine as something.
Oh, let me go look it up while you're doing that.
Yeah. So something, he was tech guy of the year. I'm not sure what it was because I saw his post and I saw the cover and I was like, oh, let me go back and look at that. And I forgot to go back.
Because I follow Marcus Brownlee.
Yeah, he's on the cover of Fast magazine. I believe it's Fast magazine.
Let me look.
Yeah, look that up. And also, while you're doing that, I'll mention that because I don't talk about X and Twitter. They have done something they did this week. Something Musk did, and IBM has pulled its advertising from the platform.
Who?
IBM.
Like,
which is
IBM.
pretty big. Yeah, like IBM, International Business Machines, like corporate. Something about he said something about Nazis, or I don't know. I don't follow that man. He said something, and now they're like, okay, it's time to go. And I'm like, why is it now when he said like a million other things? I'm like, don't get outrageous now. Get outraged when he was saying other stuff. So IBM pulled out this week advertising. I bring that up because I always say an app needs money,
Money.
and the money comes from advertisers, and their Twitter Blue. Yeah, okay. They're not getting enough money from Twitter Blue subscription.
Yeah, so yeah, Marcus Brownlee, we want to congratulate him. He is on the cover of Fast Company as gadget guru.
I knew it was something that he was like the tech guy or something guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I knew it was something. I saw that picture and I was like, oh, okay, let me go back and investigate. And I forgot because there's so many
Right.
things going on. There's so many things going on online. So many things. And then of course, people right after Halloween, people went right straight into Black Friday. So
Right. Thanksgiving didn't get a hit this week.
yeah, they don't. Thanksgiving is a holiday that's not celebrated anymore. It used to be like we waited for Santa Claus at the end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now they don't do that anymore. It used to be Santa's coming, and that's the end of the parade, and he goes into Macy's to shop, and that's supposed to be the start of the holiday shopping season. Nope, they wait until Mariah Carey puts out her It's Christmas. What does she put out? She puts out a little video clip saying it's time. So now, because the end, and she does it October 3rd. Well, not October 31st, but she does it October 31st, 12 when it's 11:59, and then 12 o'clock when it goes into November 1st. She releases this video. So I'm just telling you guys, if you didn't know, the holiday season started on November 1st because of Mariah Carey. We no longer wait until the day after Thanksgiving or the day of Thanksgiving. So
okay, so
take that as you will.
There's a couple of other things while you were talking about that, which is kind of interesting here.
Okay.
The United Auto Workers narrowly approved their new contract with GM.
Oh.
And they voted to ratify their labor contract, granting them historic wage gains and other perks following their 6-week strike. Majorities at some factories voted against the deal over disappointment that it wouldn't win back other benefits like retiree health care and pensions. Well, that's a big one. The UAW will now finish voting on similar deals it made with Ford and Stellantis. And those are likely to pass with bigger margins. That's interesting.
That is. Very much
wow. So. Okay, so there's also the first CRISPR, CRISPR therapy was approved in the UK. A British regulator said it will allow Casgevy, the first medicine licensed using the gene editing tool CRISPR, to treat patients with sickle cell disease and thalassemia. And by restoring working hemoglobin in the body. Casgevy is believed to be able to prevent excruciating pain in sickle cell patients and eliminate the need for frequent blood transfusions for those with thalassemia. Next up is approval by the FDA, which is expected to make a decision by early December. I guess, okay, because UK already did it. And then more pandas are coming. As a gesture of goodwill, Chinese leader Xi Jinping
Yeah.
said
Jeez. Yeah.
China will send new pandas to the U.S. as a part of the two countries' attempt to reduce tensions. Xi's promise of the furry envoys of friendship came after he met with President Biden this week in San Francisco, where the two agreed to resume military communications and made a deal to address the fentanyl crisis.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm like, why? How did that get in
I've
there?
been trying not to laugh.
I'm
Pandas
trying
are
to.
going to. Okay.
Why y'all messing with the fentanyl crisis and y'all got other stuff going on? Anyway, 3 giant pandas were recently sent back to Panda from to China. Wait, 3 giant pandas were recently sent back to China from the National Zoo in Washington D.C., leaving the 4 at the Atlanta Zoo as the only ones left in the U.S. until the promised reinforcements arrive.
Wait, so I'm sorry. Why did the pandas leave?
They were sent back to China, leaving the 4 at the Atlanta Zoo as the only ones left until the promised reinforcements arrive. So they're going to send new pandas as
Okay.
to reduce tensions. I'm like, we already got 3. Why are we sending? Never mind.
So these pandas are exchange students then. Okay.
Exchange student.
I'm like, why more pandas are coming, but y'all sent 3 back.
What are pandas really going to do if you're serious about really relieving tensions? I understand it's a symbolic thing, but
Yeah.
where we are now needs more than symbolism, needs more
Right.
than symbiotics. We need more than signs. So is that okay? Everything's okay now because we've got these pandas. I don't know. I'm not saying don't do it, but what's next?
I don't know why.
Well,
Okay,
I saw something on this morning, and they were explaining it's because when America first got into trade relations with China under Nixon, this was like a goodwill gesture to show goodwill or whatever. I mean, that's what they're saying. It stems from the Nixon administration, because that's when we started to do business with China. So
Yeah, no, it's fine as a goodwill gesture.
yeah.
But what else? What now? We can't just keep relying on history and relying on tradition in terms of what we've done. And
Right.
that has gotten people all over the world into a lot of trouble because things are just symbolic and done because of tradition, but there's no action behind it. So, and I'm not just talking about China, I'm talking about us too.
Yeah.
Okay, keep having tea parties with the pandas. That's fine.
and then there's a responsibility that comes with, you got to keep them alive, and
True.
you know what I mean. There's a whole
That
lot.
was the whole thing, the stressfulness of okay, China gave us these pandas. Now we gotta make sure
They stay
we're
alive.
treating them
They
okay
can't eat
over here.
McDonald's. They cannot eat McDonald's. So figure it out.
I'm like, what is the okay? I'm not understanding the whole what they got to do with that. Well, that's Terry's and I report. So TJ, you have the floor. Hey, William.
Okay.
We got William here today.
Hey, William. Hello. Okay, so I was, there's always the last minute news. Thank you, William. Thank you so much.
Welcome, William.
I love that we still, Black people are still doing it. You know what I mean?
How many years
Listen.
ago was that? Lots of
2016.
Wow.
Wow. Really?
Yep. Because Dr. Vibe and I just figured out the other day how long we've been knowing each other. And it actually, 15. 2015 is when Blab debuted, and we met at the very beginning of that. So it was either 15 or 16 that we met William.
Wow.
Wow. This is some good stuff here.
You know what it is? I think it's because we went through the pandemic and everything is just like, I'm like, everything before the pandemic is just hazy and fuzzy. Like, we used to do this, we used to do that. Yeah.
Right. And really quickly, it's also because during the pandemic, more people came online, started live streaming, started doing all these things that we all, I said it, we all, the OGs in the game, had been doing by that
Mm-hmm.
point for at least, was it 6 years by that point? Or
We've been
5 years by that point?
It's been
Right.
a long time because we have come through blue jeans and
Yeah, Blue
fire
Jeans is
talk.
shut down.
Blue Jeans,
Did
yeah.
you saw the news about Verizon killing Blue Jeans?
I did.
Right.
Whenever they go corporate, they get killed.
Right.
So not surprised. But yeah, I think that it seems like that because they're yeah, he said, I think we formed a bond going through the crucible of blab. Absolutely.
They
And
turned the
so
lights
when
off.
these new people are coming in, it feels like for them it feels new, but it's really not a new thing for us.
Right.
So I think the overwhelming onslaught of people who came in really messed with us in terms of time because it wasn't just then the few of us anymore. Then it became everybody.
Right.
You
It
know,
was
I don't know.
yeah, we felt special.
We did. I don't know if some of you all were salty, but I could. That's why I started doing Beat More Urban, because I'm like, you people are terrible. Look at you with your bad
Coming in
camera
here
and
messing
awful
up our
etiquette.
Airbnb, coming in here messing up our spot.
Exactly. Look at this. Get out. No, but I was like, but if I'm going to talk about you, because I will, I have to teach you, and that's why I started Be More So
Right.
It's
the point
needed.
is,
It was
needed.
necessary because there was some stuff. I'm like,
It's still needed.
please stop.
because people don't listen.
Please stop doing lives from your bed. Just stop.
Oh my goodness. The next time, and you all know this is my thing, and I know I'm going on a tangent, but this is my thing. I've never been a huge fan. Like for me, I know a lot of people like do things in their car. Like Fran, I know you're on the move all the time. So sometimes it's necessary. So for people that it's necessary, that makes sense. I've done it sometimes because something comes to me and I do it. But
Right.
on the whole, you know, I'm very produced. And so I
Right.
like to be sitting down. But then you had a whole bunch of people that were just doing it. Oh, it's cool to do it in the car. Well, not all the time.
Well,
I need
yeah,
you to sit down someplace and respect us sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the way social media is structured now is because the authentic, and you want to do some of it in car, do some of it, but do some of it produce. I agree. Do some of this and some of that. Don't just do all of one.
And I don't want to see you in your bed with taco meat hanging
Oh,
out.
that no, I don't want to see that.
But
at
I've
all.
seen that over and over and over. And there was one particular person that I used to watch that I couldn't do anymore because for two reasons: the lack of on-air etiquette. Number one, beds. I always said, because at the time this person was on Periscope, and I'm like, I can't stand bed scopes because you all use bed etiquette when
Right.
you are on there, and that's not what you do. So we
Right.
would see the shirt would be off, and there would be taco meat. Even if it was not taco-ish, I don't want to see it. Number two, blow your nose. I hate when people are sniffling all the time. I can't stand it. So he would do that, and I would have to change because it grossed me out. So the thing that you need to do is be aware, and this is serious, be aware of all those things that you do habitually when you're not on air. Tape yourself or record yourself before. Look at old school tape. Record yourself before you ever go live or do videos, and see what are some of these idiosyncrasies you have so that you can correct them before you gross people like me out. Because I'm like, I can't watch you now, because if you're going to be sniffing all day and then in your bed with and snorting and then in your bed with no shirt, I can't do you. Sorry,
Strikes you out. And then another thing added on that is that people forget that sound is important. Like they think, okay, I got the look right, but we can't. I've seen lots on YouTube, like this one person, like they keep telling them your sound, you're low. Like do something about your sound, like turn it up, turn your mic up. They just ignore it because they think, well, okay, this looks good. So
no, but we can't hear
if
you.
I can't hear you, I'm out.
Yeah, William says Farmer Boy irritated me.
Oh, he
Oh
was
yeah.
hella irritating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to your sound thing, absolutely. The thing is that people don't realize that two things. When you submit to a film festival, the thing that
Mhm.
will get you not accepted is poor
Sound.
sound.
Mhm.
Poor video is not a good either, but people will forgive a blurry or not a great image more than they will not being able to hear you. If they
Right.
can't hear you, they will just go away. If they can hear you, at least they'll, forgive your sound. But the thing is, what's happened with a lot of YouTubers is they're not trained. So I'm not blaming
Mhm.
them, but I am blaming you
Right.
for not getting better. And what
Right.
they will do is they'll get these high-end cameras,
Yes.
not really know how to use them, but that's okay. You can learn how to use them. But they'll get these high-end cameras, keep everything on autofocus, which is the bane of my existence, especially if you're sitting down. And then they'll be like, so you should be able to hear them. But then they're not close enough to the camera that, all right, today's outfit of the day is no. Get a damn proper mic. Get a proper mic. Why would you do this?
Get a mic, people. Get a mic.
Yeah. So I mean, again, these are things that are my pet peeves, but and I think all of us actually, every single one of us here, have really put in the time to try and teach people to do things better, whether it's content, whether it's film and video, whether it's business, because we actually really do care. I may talk about you into the ground, but I do care if you do things well, because
Right.
your success or lack thereof also affects us as
Mhm.
content creators. If you're not good, why would then anybody else go to watch independent content? Because they think that that bad stuff is reflective of all of us. So
Right.
Mhm.
sorry, TJ.
That's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
This is good stuff. And William said his last comment, people used to fall asleep on Blab, and oh, the scandals and the interventions.
Listen, that was a scandalous app if ever there was. There was so much stuff that I'm like, you know what? I really do not want to be involved. I don't need to know this. Interesting, but I don't need to know.
And then they came back and had the nerve to ask us to get back on with them for something else. I was like,
Yeah, wasn't it? Wait, was Blab House Party or was that?
Hmm.
Because House Party was one of the apps that shuttered. And why am I thinking it's Blab? I'll look it up and then let you know.
Okay.
yeah, they shut down in 20. They was only out a year. Blab shuts down. Founders promise a new app on the way. Really?
They had no plan. They had no success because remember, many of these apps are built by tech people and business people. The tech people just want to see the technology work. The business people are trying to make a buck off of it, right? Arguably, so are the tech people. But what happens is they're finding these things or founding these things to get acquired. So they really don't care what happens to the app or how it functions or what, just only insofar as you to stay on it so that it is marketable enough for somebody else bigger to buy them. It's never about us.
So what is churn?
Churn is when, so think about churn, like people subscribing and then unsubscribing. So like in the subscriber world where people, they offer, HBO may offer a free free 2 weeks, right? And you get it. And then you decide, I don't want this anymore. I'm not going to pay for it anymore. So
Mhm.
then they unsubscribe, right? So that churn is that process of people signing on to something and then they unsubscribe after a free trial or free period is over. So that's churn. So everybody tries to avoid that by, okay, we have to keep up our content, our original content. We have to keep up our maybe we do another thing. So that's what they're trying to avoid, but that's churn.
Okay, so This was in an article back August 14, 2016. In a post, Puri, which is one of the founders of Blab, promised his team would come back with a new product, but was retiring Blab because of churn, basically.
So you're blaming the fact that people would subscribe and then unsubscribe or sign on and then delete their accounts on that Blab's woes or on that. I don't buy it.
I don't either, because I didn't see that many people dropping off. People were more than anything coming in and trying to make this thing work. Because we were figuring out, okay, how to do a show, what's the best way to present, you know what I mean, and what to do with this tool, what's the best way to use this tool, and they didn't give us enough time to figure it out.
No, a year is not enough time. And I will say that, and a lot of people will say this, that one of the things that kind of spoiled Blab was the entry of the marketers.
Yeah.
They come sell this, buy this, always selling something and using Blab as a tool, like an infomercial. So I think that was one thing that spoils Blab, which I agree with. But another thing is you started to have a lot of what are they called? Trolls and things that entered. But that's a territory with any public forum. You're going to get people who have not a bloody thing else better to do than to waste time. I'm like, really? If you spent this time trolling your way to a business, you would be a millionaire by now. Right. But not everybody has the good common sense that God gave ants. So, as such.
Oh, and when you say yes, and to your comment, it does affect us as a community. All right, TJ, you have the floor.
All right. Let's see. Okay, let's start. Oh, sorry. This week is social media news and updates. So let's start with Blue Sky. Remember Blue Sky? Does everybody remember that?
Yeah, that was founded by former Twitter people, right?
Yeah, Jack Dorsey is a project that they started while it was in Twitter. It got spun off. Then Jack Dorsey left, the whole deal, and now they're they started their own thing when the Twitter shakeout happened. So what happened this week is that they've hit 2 million users. It's been up by another million since September, despite remaining an invite-only app. They also revealed the time frame regarding goals that they have of having a public web interface to go live by the end of the month. And they're going to launch something called Federation. Now, Federation is the part that is the open social network part, like what is it, Mastodon, where it's you join individual servers and all that crazy mess. That I was like, I don't have time to figure that out. Okay, don't ask me to solve this Rubik's Cube of what server to join, and the person runs the server and they get to do what they want, like little Elon Musk people running their little servers. So I was like, no. So there are some diehard people that love Mastodon. Hey, more power to you. There are some people that love Blue Sky. Hey, there you go. What happened after Blue Sky is Meta put out Threads. Now, Threads was this thing that blew up when it came out, and then there was the big deal about it lost like 80% of the users, but now it's on the way back up. It's a steady growth thing on Threads, and Threads is not X, it's not Blue Sky, it's not Facebook, it's something totally different. People haven't figured that out yet because they're lazy and they just want to, I know how to do this, so I'm going to come over to Threads and do the same thing and just bam people with sales. And like Dr. Shot was saying earlier, but Threads is a place for conversation. The more conversation you have with people, the more your stuff is going to be shown. I'm going off on a rant because when I go to Threads, I see all these dear algorithm posts. And I'm like,
who does that? I'm like, and why are you doing that?
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know who started it, but it's like a chain letter, like a follow for follow. Like it's supposed to push that dear algorithm post to the top because people are responding. So they kind of got it right. because you're making conversation and you're having a conversation, but it's stupid. Now I'm seeing the anti-dear algorithm posts. Like, please stop doing that. So there's a lot of things that's happening with Threads. People are still trying to follow and figure out how to strategize on Threads and how to sell their course on how to grow on Threads. It's still a new thing, people. We don't know what's going on with algorithm wise, but it's a place where if you say something that people want to have a conversation about and not sell, then you're going to have conversations. Because there's one person on Threads that I talk on their post, they talk on mine, and when I go out of Threads and back in, he's the first thing I see. He's the first thing. I don't touch the for you or the following. His post and Gary Vaynerchuk and a couple other people that I posted, you respond to, those people show up when you come in the thread. So a lot of people are trying to game it, and they haven't figured out how to game it, but it's no gaming. You just
ain't no damn game.
You just respond.
Everything is not a game.
I know, and people keep trying. I was like, come on, y'all, really?
It's because people think social media apps are ATM machines. You put the card in and the money spits out.
Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah,
but
you're
those
right.
Those are people that have built up a brand or a following or whatever. Yes, those people they can treat it like ATMs. But if nobody knows who you are, you're the no, like, and trust. You got to do that first. But people are coming on thinking it's easy money, but there's hard work you got to put in to dig the ditch first. Nobody wants to dig the ditch. They all want easy money. But that's just a thing. I'm getting off on a tangent.
Those are the people who are hawking stuff. Hey, you want to buy a watch? Hey, you want to do this? And,
yes,
and they walking through the neighborhood doing that. It's like, well, you go away.
That's how Times Square used to be in New York City. The guy with the coat and all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it used to be. It's not like that anymore.
You know what I call them? They are digital Lennies. Remember, my name is Lenny.
My name is Lenny.
Yeah, exactly. They are digital Lennies. I have a question for you.
Wait. I gotta laugh at the digital Lenny.
Okay.
I'm still laughing at that. That is hilarious. How did you just come up with that? That's hilarious to me.
I don't know about half of the things that come up in my head, and I just say them. So if I apologize for anybody who's the hell.
I love it. I love it. It makes perfect sense. I was like, how did she come up with digital Lenny? All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Sorry to you. So off of digital Lenny, and I have a question in terms of Thread. Now, I am very lackluster with Thread. Of course, I always go someplace to see what the digital landscape is like and see if I want to stay around, because I was a heavy Twitterer.
Me too. Yeah. I love Twitter.
That was my thing.
Pre-Musk.
Exact pre-Musk. Ben Muskrat came, and honestly, it was going down before Muskrat. Muskrat just sealed the deal.
Let's be truthful. Twitter was losing money, but it was still.
They've never been profitable. Twitter has never ever been profitable. They hovered at 300 million daily active users almost the entire time they've been around. They did all sorts of things.
Twitter was brand.
Yeah.
And it's not that anymore. So
you're right. Mm-hmm. So my question is, with Threads, I was a heavy Twitter user. So, Threads theoretically should be interesting to me. And it is, but to me, there's just not enough activity yet there for it to. But do you see?
Thank you for bringing that up. And it comes from. We know Twitter was a horrible neighborhood, but we stayed there because, Black Twitter is there, this Twitter is there, that there were little communities. And, there's a Beyonce thing there. There's the Taylor Swift people there, all, around little communities. So now that the neighborhood is stinking, the garbage is stinking, nobody's coming to take out the garbage like in New York City. If they don't come and get this garbage, it's like, how do I stand it? So people are starting to leave in waves. There was I forgot what the last wave was, but the journalists are finally starting to leave because when you're in a space where you've built up a community, it's like Cheers. The bar, remember the bar, everybody knows your name and you go in there and it's familiar.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But it's like I said, the neighborhood is stinking, the buildings are falling down, but we still there. There's a meme, I can't think of it, but we're still there and the fire's going on, but we're like, everything's okay because we don't want to leave because we're so comfortable.
Are you
So
seeing an uptick though
in
thread
threads,
use? It
yes,
feels
but
like
it's
there's a
more,
little bit of one.
it's among different communities. So Black
Okay.
Twitter's not there. Journalists are coming over, news agencies are coming over. It's a slow climb. That's why I think it's going to be like a marathon for threads, because as Twitter goes down, the other apps are going up. But it's like, where do I like to hang? That's why I brought up the Cheers reference. Like, what bar do I want to hang out in? Then I read an article this week about Spill. Spill was started, I think, was it this year or last year? And they got funding and they got some more funding. And it was started by a Black employee from Twitter, that when, the whole shakeout and they were getting, everybody hit the door. So I think he started it with somebody. I forgot. I don't know the details, but then I read the Spill terms of service and I was like, I didn't like what it said. But then this is where I read this week. This is where Black Twitter is going to Spill. Like, they're getting, I think they have 200,000 users or signups. I got to go back and check. But the people that are there love it. They love Spill. So it's like, where does Black Twitter go? Where does this Twitter go? Where does tech? I still go to X because there's some tech AI people still there talking about AI, and they're not talking about it anywhere else. So they won't leave. So I got to still go there to go and check in. Otherwise, I would not use that app at all. I would not use, I'm just keeping it because there's some AI people there that they're the latest AI news. I can only get it there because those people are there. So you see what I'm saying? That community is still there.
Mm-hmm.
But once they leave, it's like Swiss cheese. That's the only way I can put it. That Twitter is like Swiss cheese. There's holes. When the community leaves, it leaves a hole. So the journalists are finally leaving and going to Threads because there's nowhere else to go. Because of Blue Sky. Blue Sky is not, it's still invite only. You can't, it's not public. So they're not open. So people will go, those people will go to Blue Sky. But
Now,
then it's still, go ahead.
Didn't you say that Barb looked at the terms of service for Blue Sky and it wasn't like we get to keep our stuff?
Yes, she's another one that I follow her on Facebook. Follow Barb Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
She
She's
will bring up a
excellent.
new app and talk about the terms of service. So that's where I get it from, where I'm like, okay, what's the terms of service? What are you asking me? So I think Spill had something problematic. I got to go back and see. I think I talked about it with another group. And I know Blue Sky had some problems because when you sign up and use it, they have all of these rights to your content and this. And again, people aren't paying attention to that. They're just like, I like what I like. I don't really care. But then they will complain about Meta. Well, Meta's doing the same thing, but why are you pointing out one over the other? They're all bad.
Right. And they want your data. They want whatever you're putting out there, and they want to encourage you to do that. And so,
So the thing about Threads, getting back to Threads, is that the communities aren't there yet, but they're coming. Something happened like a week or two ago with the news journalist people that got them mad to where they finally left X, whatever you want to call it, and it came to Threads because there was a whole wave. I can tell when it's happening because I get a whole wave of stuff, and they go, "Hey, I'm testing it out over here. Oh, what's
there was
you can
a
see,
lot of yeah,
you can see it. You can see it. So journalists are coming over. Like I said, Black Twitter, that's a cultural thing. They're going to Spill. I don't, and then this fan base, remember we talked about fan base, Isaac Haynes the third.
Right.
He's doing well with it on his own, but it's still smaller niche communities. I don't think there's ever going to be a big thing like Facebook was a big thing. TikTok was it's going to be, I like to go, and the only thing I can think of is the Cheers reference. I'm going to a familiar place where everybody knows my name. And when I walk in, hey, Norm, hey, on the show. So that's kind of like where we are now with social media apps. But Threads is going to be a place that is going to be when the communities come over, your community, then there'll be more activity. And I'm starting to see little drip. I'm seeing it by a drop, a drop, a drop. It's not like a wave. So that was the thing that happened with Threads. It was like, I think their downfall was the whole 100 million in a day or whatever it was, craziness, which the news cycle likes. And then when it falls off, they like to go, hey, they make fun of you, and then it's like, oh, they're not so great. When those people don't even use the app, they just want to have a buzz. They want to sell a story. They want a headline. And whenever I see that on Threads, I always respond to them like, okay, this is stuff from July. Oh, Threads, they make stories in the headlines as Threads is not going anywhere. Threads is dead. And I'm like, and then they use data from July. I'm like, it's November. Where's your November data? They don't have any because they're just writing stories to get the clicks. Remember, journalists and news people want clicks. They don't care about
engagement.
They don't care about using stuff. It used to be ethical. Now it's not, because I'm like, I read the story. Most people don't. I read the story and then they go back. Oh, in July, as of July, whatever data. And I'm like, it's November, it's December. You're going to keep using July data and still tell us that Threads is nothing when I'm there every day seeing the engagement and the conversations and the things that are happening, which is what you want to have in an app. So all of those things are in the mix. Little communities are slowly leaving X and trying to find, they're packing up their people and trying to find a place to go. Then there's little places like Blue Sky and Spill, what else? And they may go to TikTok. They may go different places. So that's the only way that I can see and explain it now as I see it, that, people are not, there's some communities there, but I feel like it will be, just give it time. But will people give it time? I don't know, because they want to just drop a post and go and see the money shoot out ATM, versus staying and have a conversation with real people talking about real things and real issues. Once we do that, then it's going to be fine. And then again, I always post to Adam and Mark. I always posted them, listen, we need a bookmark feature. We need that. We don't need the polls, and we need the important stuff. If you want it to be like Twitter had bookmarks and lists and things where I could save stuff. I didn't have to follow somebody. I have to follow people now in order to, because I saw a post about 2 or 3 weeks ago I wanted to talk about. I didn't screenshot it. I don't follow the person. It just showed up in my For You. And if I closed the app, it went away. That was really frustrating, because it was something that I wanted to talk about. I was like, there was no way for me to save this thing other than screenshot it, which is what I do now. Because I don't want to follow this person. I just like that one post.
Right.
So things like that, once they get a handle on it, I think it's going to be better. But that's my opinion, just from using it.
So I'm looking over here at Spill and their licensing and stuff like that. Yeah, you do need to read through this. In any of the apps, you really need to see what they're going to do with your stuff, because I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want you using my stuff.
Now, I might have a screenshot from the Spill terms of service. I can't find it. It's months ago.
I'm looking at it. I can share it if you want.
Well, if you want to put the link in there. But I just remember seeing it and going, and it's not to down it because it's a cultural niche app and because certain people won't go over there. No, I want them to be successful. I just don't like those things that they wanted for me to sign up for an account. Like, I don't really need that. I don't need that.
Yeah, so
I like what I got. I like what I got. So
there's
other people,
terms of service, you can just go.
Other people will just sign up for it, because, like I said, if that community is on Twitter saying, "Hey, we're going to Spill or we're going to Blue Sky," the community on Twitter will say where they're going, and everybody goes, "Yeah, let's pack up our bags and go over there."
Right, and you still have to get an invite for Spill too, by the way.
Oh, you do? Okay, I didn't know that.
Join the wait list. I'm like, okay. Okay.
So that's what I with Threads. If you don't like talking to people and having a conversation and you just want to drop your little link for people to buy something from you and go, they're not going to buy because you just dropped the link. We don't care. That's Instagram behavior. Do that on Instagram. Instagram behavior does not translate to Threads behavior. People think because the two are intertwined, which again, that's one of the news is Instagram has made it where you can disconnect the two accounts. You can disconnect your Threads account from Instagram. So they think, well, I'm just gonna come over to Threads and do what I do over there. And people are like, nope, have something to say. And you don't have to be Einstein a genius, just drop a thought and leave. And then when you
Right.
come back in, drop a thought. If somebody responds, you respond back. And then you look at what's in your for you, see if there's a little interesting conversation, drop it. It's like a little networking cocktail party. The
Right.
same
And
activities.
it's just a place where I can, if I have a thought that I think it might be worth sharing for somebody,
Yes.
I will put it up. And then I am not living over there. There's some people they are posting every day, 3 or 4 times a day. But I'm learning from you, when the moment is right, then you post. You don't just
Right. And see, you can post the things that you wouldn't be able to post that on Instagram because you would get crickets because Instagram is a carefully curated brand thing, where Threads is more of I want to talk at a cocktail party networking event thing. I want to, see what are you guys talking about? This is what I think. And you post.
And that's it. It's just very I think Threads is the most social platform I've seen. You know what I mean? As far as social, where because you can go, okay, there's a lady who's doing recipes and stuff, and she had this stuff for Thanksgiving and whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then
I follow some people like that. Yeah.
and if you want
And
to
then you
learn
go
more,
over to their Instagram. Right.
and then I didn't have to go to her Instagram. It took me to her Substack, where she has a newsletter on all things food or whatever. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm interested and maybe I'm not. But it's like perusing through the magazine. I can remember having architectural magazines in the house. And sometimes you just have a magazine, you just want to sit on the couch and just flip through the magazine.
And if you see, oh, dear letter to the editor, or dear, like if you go to the New York Times and there's the comments, it's like that. You can comment or not. You can read it or not. It's not, people want it to be, and then again, they want it to be just like Twitter. And like, it's not going to be, Twitter was a thing, a brand, a moment in time, and it's gone. Just like Blab.
Blab is out. William says, I'm learning to live in my less content, but more meaningful.
See, I love that because if you're saying, you don't have to put out a million things, because look at me. If I'm following you and I interact or in some way, the next time when I go in that app, I'm going to see your post, your newest post. And that's good enough. It's not, okay, well, I got to be everywhere and everything and post 20 million times a day. That will drive you crazy. So, I don't know. It's just some people just this attitude of what social media is not.
You know what it reminds me of in the fashion world? There's this whole thing of buying quality rather than having a whole closet full of Shein clothing. Sorry, Shein.
Okay,
But a whole closet full of, like fast fashion that's not going to last you. You spend the money and you buy quality pieces that are going to last you forever, that are timeless and classic. That doesn't mean you don't do trendy, or in social media cases, you don't do trends, but for the long haul, what you want is classic pieces of content that are meaningful, but it's less. So you don't need like 100 pieces. This capsule wardrobe of maybe 15 to 20 pieces is going to be good. So it's the same thing with content.
It's the little
Right.
black dress that you buy from Chanel or whatever you can afford. That's very high end in quality. And that little black dress, you put like Dr. Sally said, you put things on, you take things off, you accessorize with shoes and bags and coats. But that dress, you're going to spend a lot of money on because that's the basis of it. You could do
Right.
whatever you want with it, and it lasts because it's got classic cuts. You put
And
the
it
trendy
fits.
accessories on it.
Let me tell you, the most the most expensive pair of shoes I have, and you people know I am cheap or sorry, frugal. I like fashion and I like it, but I'm not trying to
Who
spend.
doesn't want to save money? Everybody wants to
Exactly.
save money now.
Exactly. So the most expensive, I have a pair of Emilio Pucci shoes that I bought one time. But they really weren't very expensive at all. I think they were like, as shoes go, they were like $250. So for shoes that are luxury, that is not expensive at all. But I
Right.
found them on super sale, so I ended up getting them. Now they are a fabric shoe at that. They're not a leather shoe. They're fabric and metal and with the Pucci design, right?
Right. Right.
But for them to just be fabric, and there is a little bit of leather, I swear these are the strongest shoes I have ever had. My mistake was not getting soles on the bottom to protect the leather bottom, which I need to do that. But a lot of people don't, but I need to do that. But, because I spent the money on the shoes up front, they're not one that I live in Florida. My shoes, so many of my shoes have fallen victim to the humidity that one time if you have shoes on and they've been in your closet, you better check that they don't come apart, because that happens sometimes in Florida with shoes. They have not fallen victim to that at all. So it's just interesting. You take the time, you put out quality pieces of content, maybe something that you spent a lot of time on, but that quality piece of content, you should be able to get more content out of. It resonates, you can bring it back up at another time. Like, hey, remember this?
Yes. Right. That's what William says. Yes, quality, evergreen thoughts, content, and ideas. That's the basis of it. That's it. That's it. Because we were talking, where were we talking about YouTube and the 12-year-old video? How to
the nail. That was Tuesday, I think, when we're talking about the video with the nail, how to put a nail in a hole. I mean, how to hammer a nail in the wall
on YouTube, and it still drives views and clicks and money and all, and it's evergreen content. Yeah, and see, you can post that, and you could say, well, if I want to put a presence on TikTok, maybe I take that video and chop it up into little sections and put it on TikTok.
Right.
William, Reels or go ahead.
Yeah, William says, I'm a Thursday boots guy and I have to stop myself from clicking their ads. I want every one of the boots, and just recently power tools at Lowe's. I said, I got to stay out of that store. Yeah, this is some good.
This is just a matter of, okay, strategy. Where are my people hanging out? What do I give them? What do I serve them? Do I give them escargot or do I give them meatloaf when they're meatloaf people?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I give them
escargot
or something? Something. They'd be like, what is that? I want meatloaf and potatoes. So you just know what to serve them and serve them up and just be consistent about it.
Right. And they came to you for you.
Yes.
Not, rehashing of somebody else's stuff. They want you.
And I said this when Threads came out. I said, if you don't have the bandwidth or the time, don't. You don't have to. It's new. It's a place where you can make if you know how to talk and make conversations and talk to people, you can jump in whenever you're ready. It's not okay if I don't post, I'm sinking to the bottom like Instagram. If you don't have current stuff, they're not showing your stuff to anybody. They want new current stuff. So and William says, when my people and replace sell with serve. Yeah,
I love that. Replace sell with serve.
Yeah, how do you help?
That's exactly what you're doing. You're serving. It can't be about you all the time. It cannot be about you. It's the same thing with like I look side eye, bombastic side eye at people who I haven't heard from in donkey years, but now you're inboxing me on Facebook or some other platform asking me questions about video. My dear, why would I answer that when I've never talked to you? I mean, and it will be crazy. It will be some people we're just connected because we met like, donkeys years ago. You've never said anything, barely liked a poster, and then you're like, hey, how do you, hey, nothing. Your mother is
Hey,
hey.
how do you?
No.
Google.
Google, exactly. Hey, how are you? Go ahead and use Google. If you don't like that, Bing is available. So I mean, it's reciprocal.
I laugh. All right, let's move on. I got some more stuff to talk about. We could talk about this a lot because this is a good topic, but so that's what's going on with Blue Sky. They've got their thing going on. It's still invite only. I don't, if you want to join them, you can. Snapchat users can now buy Amazon products without leaving the app. Now, we talked about this last week with Meta joining Facebook and Instagram with Amazon, where you will have your Amazon Prime and you just it's connected and you can buy. So Amazon is now going to run shopping ads for select products on Snapchat. So their ads will allow them to shop and check out without having to exit the Snapchat app. So here's a quote: "For the first time, customers will be able to shop Amazon Snapchat ads and check out with Amazon without leaving the app. So they'll see real-time pricing, Prime eligibility, delivery estimates, and product details on select Amazon product ads in Snapchat as part of the new experience. In-app shopping with Amazon is available for select products advertised on Snapchat and sold by Amazon or by independent sellers in Amazon stores." Now, Amazon did not say how long they were going to do this. They didn't talk about the percentages of sales Snapchat will keep. Also, Snapchat with mom, so they're not saying anything. But so this could put Snapchat closer with because they're trying to get advertising ad dollars up. So this could help them. It also helped them on Wall Street because shares of Snap were up 7%. The market closed Tuesday when they made the announcement. So Amazon is doing some things with Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram, all with shopping.
Well,
so, and we talked about this last week. Fran said no.
Not for Facebook. Now, I might do the shopping with Snapchat, but I will not let Facebook get anywhere near my money. Sorry.
And see, here's another example. Snapchat's another one that ever since it's been out and they rejected Instagram's offer, was it Facebook's offer to buy them?
Yeah.
So now Snapchat's dead. Snapchat's dead. Nobody's on Snapchat. Snapchat has 13 to I think it was 24, 25, 6, that age range. So that's where they are, and they're happy. So Amazon is like, hey, if they won't come, because remember, Amazon had an app, I think, not the AMP app. They had a shopping app, or they did something with shopping, live shopping inside of the app. I don't think it's going well. So now Amazon is like, okay, if they're not coming into Amazon, we're going to go to where they are, which is smart. You want to go to social media, and social media is worth it, regardless of what we talk. That article we talked about on Tuesday saying, social media wasn't worth it. But I was like, okay, we talked about that. But Amazon is going over and getting the sales wherever they are. Okay, so let's talk about Microsoft. Microsoft renames Bing Chat to Copilot as a way to compete with Chat GPT. So they had an event called Microsoft Ignite 2023. They renamed Bing Chat to Copilot and Bing. So they're also going to change the Bing Chat in Bing Chat Enterprise. That's also being rebranded to Copilot. So they're going to change this name. I don't know why they're going after this Copilot thing and not having Bing Chat. So I don't know what Microsoft is doing, because this thing with Bing chat was supposed to take market share from Google search, and they're saying that Bing hasn't moved the needle. Nobody has switched from Google search to Bing search. So now they're trying something else with a name change. I don't know if this is going to work. The free version of Copilot will still be accessible in Bing and Windows, but it's going to have its own dedicated domain over at copilot.microsoft.com.
I'm
So they're
confused
trying,
already.
yeah. So let's
Okay.
go over to copilot.microsoft.com. I didn't take a look. If you want to do that and bring it up.
Okay, because I'm like, why?
Yeah, copilot.microsoft.com. And they're saying
Copilot.
they have this domain because, like, ChatGPT has a domain. I forgot how you get the ChatGPT, because I never typed
OpenAI.
it in.
You go to OpenAI dot something.
I forgot how you get there. So here's the quote: renaming Bing Chat Enterprise to Copilot reflects our vision to create a unified Copilot experience for consumer and commercial customers. So that's what they're saying.
It's confusing. You moving cheese, people. You're moving the cheese. Okay.
Yeah. Copilot.microsoft.com. Let's take a look at that.
Okay, I have it. And it's really okay. Don't know why.
Because I didn't look at it.
And there's nothing to look at, really.
Okay.
I can sign in. I do have a Microsoft account for some, but I still don't know what the heck we're doing.
Okay, so yeah, so they're saying that. All right, so remember, Bing Chat was exclusive to the Microsoft Edge browser, and then they changed it to where they said, okay, people complain and they don't want to download the Edge browser and all that stuff. So now they made Bing Chat work on Chrome browser. So now they're saying with Copilot, you need to sign in with your Microsoft account, and possibly I'll check this out later. Possibly you have a better experience on the Microsoft Edge browser with Copilot. Like you said, confusing.
I don't use Microsoft Edge no way, so I don't use the Bing. Maybe he's talking about the people who are PC centric. You know, the people who prefer PC.
Well, no, see, it works. Edge works on Mac, because I have it on one of mine.
Yeah, I got it on mine too.
They have an app. They have an app for the phone.
But most people that use Edge are people who don't. Most PC users will use Microsoft products, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And most Apple people are not going to use Microsoft products. Now, we will use Chrome and we'll use Google or something, but we're not diving in over there.
So here's something interesting. I'm looking at Bing on my phone, and it still says Bing. It doesn't say Copilot. It still has the Bing logo, and it says your AI powered Copilot for the web. So maybe they haven't updated it on the Apple Store yet, but I'm thinking they're gonna switch this B for whatever this icon is, and they're gonna call it Copilot, and they're getting me ready. I don't know.
I'm confused. I'm just really confused.
Yeah, so we can
okay,
we can move on.
Because people, maybe they should get it all done before they start announcing this stuff. Get it all cleaned up, get the house all ready, then tell us to come over for the party, because I'm confused.
Oh, okay, so all right, let's move on. We'll move on. We'll revisit that later when they're unconfused. YouTube will label AI generated videos that look real, so they're going to start alerting viewers when they're watching a video made with artificial intelligence. They're saying creators must disclose whether they use AI or other digital tools to make realistic looking altered or synthetic videos, or risk having their accounts removed or suspended from earning advertising revenue on YouTube. That means they're going to get suspended from the YouTube Partner Program. They're saying the policy will go into effect in the coming months. They don't have an exact date. And coming months, that's probably 2024, since we're already at almost the end of November. YouTube will also allow people to request videos be removed if they use AI to simulate an identifiable person on this privacy tool. So remember, there was a thing with Tom Hanks and the celebrities that they use videos and doing that. So yeah, the deep fake. So this is something that YouTube is going to put in to process. So they're saying they're going to allow people to flag content that simulates an identifiable individual, including their face or voice. So they're going to consider a variety of factors in deciding whether to go ahead with removals. That includes whether the video is parody or satire, whether the person is uniquely identifiable, and whether it involves a well-known person or public official. So this is what YouTube is trying to do with these deep fakes. Now I have seen on YouTube some bit, and I forgot what it was, something about AI, and I watched the video, and their channel creator used an image of a woman, and then they had the voice of a woman, but I could tell, I was like, okay, I think this is AI, text to voice. You can use Murph AI 11. There's a whole bunch of them. So these people are taking AI imagery or using something else. They don't show themselves at all, and it's not them talking. They're using text to voice and then making these videos. Now I was watching a video going, okay, this is interesting, whatever. I was like, something is nagging me. This is not. And so I looked at their channel, and then they had to come clean because everybody was asking, was this an AI person, an AI voice? And they were like, yes, I made the video. So again, it's the woman's voice. And then they was like, yes, this channel is using AI text to speech voice, this not my voice, whatever. But it sucks you in. But there's something that's missing from a lot of this Mid-Journey Dolly stuff, the imagery that they give, and you post, you thinking it's a real person. There's something missing, and you can always tell. Like, it's like when I had an Impossible Whopper from Burger King, and I was like, let me try it. And it tasted really good at the beginning, but at the end, it was like, this is not meat, because it left a taste in my mouth. I was like, I didn't like it. It wasn't pleasant. So I equate that with these videos that people are putting out on YouTube and other places where they're, making images with Dolly or Mid-Journey or these videos, and then they're using the text to speech voice, and there's no human involved in the production of it other than the typing in of text.
They have no
together.
They have no soul, TJ.
It's empty.
They are lacking of soul. It's just very robotic, and it's very.
And the video sucked me in. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And I was like, wait a minute, something about this voice, and it was a very good AI voice. It just wasn't 100% like human. There's just something in there. But see, they're going to get to the point where we won't be able to tell. And this is where Google and all these other places are trying to. I think they should make a automatic watermark, because they're waiting for people who make these type of videos to mark themselves as, oh yeah, I used AI. You think they're going to do that?
No. William says that's called uncanny valley. When humans recognize something that is similar to them, but there's a small part that lets them know it's not them. It's called the uncanny valley.
That's what it was. It was just something was like, and it sucked me in. It was like, okay, there's the image, the person's avatar, and the voice was like, oh yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. It wasn't robotic, like a robotic voice. It was like a female voice. And then as it went along, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't a person talking. This is AI talking to me. And it's very unnerving.
Right. And then there are sometimes when the AI is talking and they don't get the grammar right.
This one was wow. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, something's wrong. This one was like, wait a minute. And it wasn't until I watched a couple of the videos on the channel that I was like, wait a minute, this is not a real voice. like a human voice. It sounded like it. It just was not. And so I can only liken it to having that impossible whop, which I never had another one. I was like, no, I don't want that. It's because it looks right, it looks good, it looks real, and it is like, okay, yeah, this works. And then you consume it, and then at the end of consuming, the product or listening to the videos or listening to more than one and watching more than one, I was like, you can't fool me.
William said,
Like.
William said AI has a hard time saying the word giraffes.
Really? Really? Wow.
Giraffe.
So Google's trying to get on top of it, YouTube and all these others, and I'm saying like don't. And Meta even was saying that they're going to require, and TikTok require people who upload AI generated or AI assisted content to self-regulate. And I say self-regulation doesn't work here. They're gonna have to put some kind of watermark in everything that's generated from, and they could do it, some kind of watermark, some kind of thing that goes into the file, the content, and when it's uploaded to Meta, TikTok, whatever, Google sees that little thing and knows and self-tags it as AI. It has to be that, because if you asking me and I'm like, okay, well, I'm here trying to make money, usually on YouTube, so I'm going to make these videos and they look perfect and they say the right thing and whatever, and then you want me to mark it as AI generated, which is going to throw off the people from watching it. I'm not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
And now they're questioning you because KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing for Amazon, is that they asked that when you're posting a book, how much of this is AI?
And they're waiting for people to self-regulate and go, yeah, this is 100% AI. No, they're going to mark it no. Because there's no check in there to say, I caught you, you're lying, it's 50% AI generated. We're going to get to that, but we got to go through this first. So I'm just saying, be cautious out there, because there are things but I love that the humanness of us will get it eventually. You might fool me from the first thumbnail or the first few seconds of the video, but something in my brain goes, this is not. It looks like lobster, but it's what's the imitation?
No, it's like crab with a K.
The key thing is something in your brain, TJ. Your brain.
I know what you're saying.
We have to be careful of measuring everyone with our tape measure.
They're going to get caught. I know a lot of people are going to put their mouth open. The fish opens their mouth and the hook goes in, and they're gone. But me, I looked at that worm and went, something wrong with that worm.
Tastes right.
I don't want that worm.
William says camera companies are starting to fight against AI to fight against AI with metadata. Leica has already started, but photojournalists are having this conversation now.
Yes.
It needs to be had now. The thing is with AI, unless you rein it in, it's like the internet. The internet is really the Wild West, and that could have been avoided by really understanding the implications for letting things get wild early in the game. And like now it's too late. So they have opportunities with new technology that arises like AI to really make sure it's under control. That doesn't mean control it, but make sure it's under control.
And this is what because Biden had the executive order. They're trying. The government is trying. They're not going to get it right because they don't understand.
They will not.
They're not going to get it right. But at least they're trying. And like you said, I feel like something could have been put in metadata, some kind of code, something in the beginning to mark everything that came out of AI opening. Everything had this little mark on it, and it was not. You could not remove it. Not the hackers. They could do it. I don't know why they won't do it, but they could do it.
When I used DALL-E, they had down in the corner, which you can crop off if you wanted to. But
Right.
down in the corner, it had a little mark on it, a little code or something down on the bottom right corner, which I'm like, oh, so they know that it came from there. But
Right.
I said you can crop that right out of the picture.
Well, see, you have, because the thing is, everything is ones and zeros
Yeah.
to the computer. Everything is ones and zeros. One
So
server talks to another, and there's back end metadata, back end code that we don't get to see. This is the whole discussion with TikTok in China. There's back end code that they know where it is. We'll never find it, but it's there, put there by some web developer, coder, programmer, whatever, because it's all ones and zeros. So what I'm saying is they could have done this from the beginning. They didn't want to. They didn't want to, because one, when it came out, it's like, okay, here's ChatGPT. There's no regulation. It's in beta. Have at it, because they needed us to train it by asking it things. They have developers and programmers that can think of questions when they test it. Oh, do this, do that. But that's a limited set. They needed the world to get this thing and put it through the paces. And then that's why they have so many updates with them reining it in, because now they go, oh, people are doing this. Let's stop that. Oh, people are asking it. Let's stop that. Oh, people are asking for images that are, not safe for work or whatever. Let's stop that. Because I read all of, well, not all of them. I go to Reddit and I see the communities for chat. They're all upset because ChatGPT did not work like it did a year ago. They're all mad. They can't get it to do those things that they were doing in the beginning, because it was like Dr. Chadi said, it was the open wild, wild west. Now it's being corralled and reined in because people want it, and it needs to be. But now those people are mad. It doesn't work the same way. It doesn't give me what I want. Blah, blah, blah. They're mad with the toy now, a year later. But
whatever. Because we have to protect ourselves from you. William said, I haven't heard about Boolean algebra in years. Ones and zeros.
It's all ones and zeros, people. Those ones and zeros are manipulated. But I just say that because I know that they can put something in there. At the beginning, OpenAI, these guys, I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, well, I do know why. But these are the things that are going on with AI. They could put something in, a watermark, and I don't mean like a visual, like it's somewhere. When when all these computers talk to each other, it's a thing that gets. There's a term for it. I can't think of it. It's a little piece of code or a little thing that travels, a packet or something that travels with this. And then the only way that we're going to get to that is we got to do more blockchain stuff, which we're not ready for. Blockchain will fix all of this. But we're not ready for that.
We're not. You can see with I think whenever anything new is introduced, helping is part of the equation, but the other part of the equation is, how do I make money off of this? Case in point, if we look at blockchain, if we look at cryptocurrency, if we look at NFTs, the diehard community saw it as a way to revolutionize finance, saw it as a way to revolutionize the way we actually consider and spend currency.
Right.
But the people who were not interested in the community, because if you think about all of this, cryptocurrency, for example, exists, or any currency exists because people agree that this is how much something is worth. That's all currency is.
Right.
There's not a damn thing really backing our money at this point except a wish and a prayer and hopes and dreams.
Started on that.
Okay. So it's basically, I'm like, what makes this different from cryptocurrency? Really? Nothing. It's just that it's an accepted form of currency and you put your trust in it because of the tradition and the longevity. So now you look at this, of course, people don't understand it. And so they don't trust it. So it's not ready for prime time yet.
It's not ready. It's not ready. But if you're thinking about, okay, what I'm thinking, like what moves us off the internet, it might be this AI deep fake, whatever thing that moves us from internet to blockchain, which will, everything's a digital ledger, and everything is trackable, and we're not ready yet, but we might we might not be able to wait for people to get ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. The masses will never be ready.
yeah,
And William says this is a deep conversation. It really is.
yeah,
And not to take it super deep, but
right,
the masses will never be ready. I
yeah,
think that just like, simply because it's not in the public eye anymore, the whole thing of how big crypto and everything was,
hmm,
crypto was still at like 35,000. I haven't checked this morning, but it's
right,
still at 35,000. Sorry, Bitcoin rather.
right,
Bitcoin is still at $35,000 for one Bitcoin. So there's still some value there because there's still a community of people doing it. So it's
right,
not going to be for everyone. It may never be the mass currency, but the
right.
people who are smart about it, it will be the currency for them.
Agreed. Agreed. So I don't know. I'm just like I said, I didn't see ChatGPT coming. I knew something was coming. I didn't know it was that. So something else is coming because you could see where we are with deep fakes, with people who aren't on, thinking on our level. Not to say they're dumb or stupid. I'm just saying they're not paying attention to it. So they just put their heads in the sand and we're looking at it and saying, wait a minute, look at these things. Something has to happen. And then the government is slowly waking up. So all of these things are signs to look at where we're gonna go. Because it has to go somewhere.
Really quickly,
Yeah.
when you say that, it reminds me of something. When the government slowly waking up, and we already know that government is generally traditionally always behind. They're
Oh,
always behind the eight ball,
oh,
whatever that saying is when it comes to
years.
these things. So I remember my dissertation advisor, um, love her dearly. One thing that when we had flown we were doing some research work in Kansas, and we had
Mhm.
flown out there. And one thing I noticed, she said, because she always felt like she was going to get sick when she flies, she would train herself to go to sleep. So what I noticed is when she would go to sleep, she would wake up like, if she had fallen asleep, she would
Mhm.
wake up like she had never fallen asleep, and she would just keep write as if she was not, I
It's
wasn't
just
asleep, I would just
continue.
write. Right. So that kind of reminds me of the government, that they're falling asleep, but then they wake up like, oh no, I wasn't asleep, and they're writing. That's what it reminds me of. So to me, that's the perfect metaphor.
Listen, the things I can tell you about the inner workings, I mean, you guys know it, but it's much, much worse. But we're limping along. So we have to limp along. So, and then private industry like the open AI people and all this, they're the ones driving it more so, and our government is holding on. What am I trying to think about? They're holding on with a rope and the horse is running, and they're trying to hold on. That's the government. So, and
Yeah,
then put on top of that all the other things politically that's happening with getting a speaker and all the other stuff. Just if
yeah.
you think about it, you will not sleep. So let's not.
Yeah. Williams says, I remember years ago I was a cop on third shift and I heard them mention Bitcoin for pennies on the radio. I was like, that's so stupid. Man, what? And then I think Dr. Tachi just gave her take on non fungibles.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I really still believe in the power of that type of NFTs and things. Those
Yes.
are ways that things can live on the blockchain. And as we all know, that blockchain is really a ledger, a
Yes.
proof that you own what
Mm-hmm.
you say you own.
Yep.
So unlike, now with people like, oh, it's just art, I can make a copy. Yeah, but there's no universal ledger saying that you own. So you can make a copy, but you don't own that copy. So
Right.
the thing is, you can, yeah, obviously monetize by saying this is one of five of a piece of
Mm-hmm.
art or a film or a lot of things. The blockchain is really good for a lot of things. I just think, one, we're not ready for it because the masses usually are never ready for a new technology or new innovation.
Mhm.
Two, we're talking about something that has the power to revolutionize the way we think about currency and who owns what.
It's
Do you really think a government wants you to have that power? So when we really think about, people are like, oh, that's so stupid, it's a fraud, it's a scam. But of course, it is to the advantage of the people who already hold the power to have you thinking it's a scam. So
yes.
keep thinking that.
Yes.
Keep thinking, because we could say the US dollar is a scam too, right? We could
Yes.
say all
Yes.
you have to
You
do is
can.
look at the thing with all right, you've already paid taxes on one set of money when you earn it, right? And then when you go to invest it in someplace else, you're paying another set of. Is that not fraud at the highest? Is that not fleecing?
It's the
So
ultimate
let's
scam.
be careful of what we call scam, sirs and madams.
And see what I like what you said about the NFT part, when people was like, oh, ha ha ha, I could just right click and save it. That's not what an NFT is. That's the visual imagery that you're seeing. It's all about the technology behind it, because the NFTs, I'm glad everything fell out the way it did. Unfortunate for people that lost money. I'm sorry, but the technology of an NFT, that's not what it was for. It was not for you to make these little images and then sell them. And that's not what NFTs are about. That's just one thing that we discovered, and it's like everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, we're going to make money. So that money tree burned to the ground, and so now people, yeah. So they're
And
like,
that's what you get. That's
yeah,
what you
that's
get
what you
for
get.
trying to capitalize on everything. I mean,
Thank
there's
you.
nothing that
Thank
that
you.
comes up that, and I'll say Americans. I'm going to say Americans that we will not try and capitalize on. I'm not saying the rest of the world doesn't do it, but we
Right.
are so money hungry and stars in our eyes for money all the time. The things that are supposed to be
The
helpful. I mean,
rush.
why do you think our pharmaceutical system is the way it is? Things that are really supposed to help people, it don't, because unless you can make money off of it, there's no need for me to make. Oh,
Yeah.
it cures cancer, but nobody can pay for
Yeah.
it. Well, then let's not produce it. Those
Right.
types of things. So it's the
Right.
same thing, maybe to a
Yeah.
smaller extent.
It's the same thing. And so I was online talking in some forum. They were like, oh, NFTs are scams. And I was like, well, yeah, the current iteration of it, but I look at the technology of it, which is really blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's really about. NFTs are going to be something in the future. I don't know what, but it's going to be something very important because of the part of the technology of the blockchain. It's not going to be these gorilla pictures or whatever things that they were making, and people were like, ha ha ha, I right clicked and saved it and I own it.
The bored
Not
apes.
really. You have a visual representation.
And guess what? It's still going. So if we just really quickly,
Mhm.
the Bored Apes Yacht Club, right? They had different iterations of those ugly apes. So if
Yeah.
you
Right.
bought it at the beginning, yeah, you're sitting on something now because everybody wanted those apes. So
Right.
here's the thing: the popularity of that also sparked a metaverse called Otherworld, right?
Mhm.
And it also got some attention from Hollywood. Now, again, because of the strikes, I don't know whether or not they're just scrapping plans for all the things they were going to do with the
Right.
Bored Apes. They
Right.
may be, especially since the popularity of NFTs in the public has gone down so
Yes.
much.
Way down.
But
Yeah.
there's still huge communities of people who play around and do serious things in the metaverse. So because it's not in the public eye, because celebrity X, Y, and Z are no longer affiliated with it, the average public person may not care. Fine,
Yeah.
more for us.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Better
lost
for us.
interest. They lost interest. Good.
Good, exactly, because it's the whole thing is, everybody wants the shiny thing at first, but then it wears off a little bit, and then you see who are the real people in the space, who are the real people who are going to do something with it. Get all the people who were charlatans trying to make money off of it, and the people who didn't know what the hell they're doing and just were jumping on the bandwagon. Get them out of the way, and then let the real work begin.
Right.
I'll say this one thing about NFTs: everything went downhill when I forgot the guy's name that had the auction of his
Sam
NFT.
Bankman-Fried.
No. There's an artist, and it was some auction, and he got like 60 million or something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about? The
yes,
guy
I
did the
do.
auction, and then that's when people started going NFTs. 600, whatever the amount
It was the
astronomical.
CryptoPunks.
Yes, whatever it was, this man that he made so much money off of it through auction that's when the whole and people was like a money grab, and then the thing is like, okay, you ruined it. But the people that are really into the technology of it knows that was just okay. Yeah, that's just the visual part of it, but it's going to be something. So don't write it off. All right, so I got a couple more. Go ahead.
It's just ahead of its time, just like
Yes,
other technology. It was way ahead of its time, and it just now.
just like the internet. Remember when the internet first started, and
Yeah.
so we're at the beginning. So all right, let me do a couple more. So ByteDance, TikTok, ByteDance is testing content paywall on TikTok sister app Douyin. So they're testing a paywall feature for content creators on their platform in China. So that's testing, and they're trying to probably put that on TikTok, but we'll see. That's testing. TikTok adds in-stream AR effect creation flow. It enables all users to create AR experiences in the app. So they'll be able to do all that, face things and different things. So they'll be able to create effects in the app with a couple of taps. And Instagram is retiring its guides posting option next month. You could make a guide. If you didn't know, you could make a guide, which was like a magazine on your profile. A lot of people didn't use it, so they're retiring that on December 15th. That will go away. Instagram is launching new creation tools for reels and stories. So they had a bunch of AI tools, text to speech, voices, to add clips to audios to reel with Meta's GIF Clip Hub. They had that. They're changing their draft process. A lot of things that people were complaining about with making reels inside of the reels editor, they're fixing. Meta is fixing. And one or two more. Meta brings its inbox notes to Messenger. We were talking about the notes feature in Instagram. So now they're putting it in Meta, and you'll see it. It'll be like little circles in at the top that are not stories. So you can the notes will be text-based prompts that all of your Messenger contacts can see in the app, and they wanted to do it to spark conversation. Why is notes big? Because Gen Z likes it. And
Wait,
yeah, go ahead.
do they really? Who asked for this is one of them questions.
All right, here's a little bit more about the Messenger
Gosh.
notes. It's okay, in Messenger notes, you can't add music, GIFs, videos. You could do that in the IG notes. Notes will be displayed for 24 hours in stream, and it's for quick little thing. It comes from Snapchat, the way that they use it privately, leaving voice messages instead of text, instead of typing. This is where it all comes from.
So
And so
it's
they're
like
saying,
it's audio recording. You push the button, you talk, and you leave them an audio recorded message, and then it disappears.
right.
Okay.
That comes from Snapchat culture.
Yay.
Which is teen. So they're saying teens are creating notes at 10 times the rate of non-teen users. So, and Meta said in June, over 100 million teens had shared a note in the preceding 3 months of June. So, because Gen Z likes this, teenagers, they're putting this notes feature out. Here's another thing: business pages can't post notes. Also, business pages cannot use the broadcast channel features. I was trying that, but if you're a business page, they don't let you do it.
Now, I have a question. Why?
Why? Because you're a business page and Meta. We talked about this, but Meta likes to categorize creators and business owners. So when you set up a business page, you're telling Meta that you're a business owner and you have budget to run ads. So they don't give you stuff that they give creators. So the creator, if you have a creator account in Instagram, you notice there are lots of things you can do in that Instagram creator account that you cannot do in a business account. This is why people
absolutely, which is why mine is a creator account.
Right. So this comes from Meta seeing you categorize yourself as a business and having a business page, which in the beginning, that's what we would do a page in order to get analytics and different things. Right. But now it's like Meta was like, okay, you're a business. Act like a business. A business has an ad budget.
Well, okay, so I think really quickly, this is part of the issue because you all already know business is about know, like, and trust. And if you're forming a community, you're not just forming customers, you're really forming a community. And if you're doing it on social media, you really are trying to form a community, or you should be anyway. So why would you not give certain tool? I'm not saying everything, but certain tools. Why would you like notes? Why not?
This is Meta's thinking. I agree. But this is
Well,
Meta's thinking.
coming from a business where people know them, but they don't like or trust them, that's typical. Okay.
This is how Meta, if you categorize yourself as a business, Meta says you're a business, you better run some ads first. And because there's lots of things that we're like, okay, how is this getting, people get this in Instagram, like with music. Like if you're a business, if you categorize yourself as a business in Instagram, there's certain music that you can't use.
And I understand why. Commercial music, you're using it. If you're a business, it's assumed you're using it for commercial purposes for sale.
Exactly.
So,
but then if you switch from business to is it personal or creator or one of the others, there's a lot of things you don't get, like analytics and different things. There's certain things you get as having the business page versus being a personal. And some people have weighed in and done personal, but they're really a business because they've gotten all those tools. They're really not supposed to, but they're doing it. So this is it. Just Meta just goes, you're a business. Get over there. Lane, get in the slow lane. I don't know. This is Meta's thinking.
Okay.
All right. That's what it is. It's because in Meta's mind, if you set yourself as a business page, get over there. You're not getting all the stuff that the creators get because they're creators. They're influencers. They need these tools. You're a business. Run an ad. This is their thinking. All right, one more. Thread starts testing hashtags without the hash sign, which is stupid, and people are saying it's stupid. Zuckerberg has announced that they will begin testing the ability to tag topics on threads by interest or theme. Users will call the tag feature. You can call up the tag feature using the hashtag symbol, but it won't display the hashtag symbol when the tags are shown. Instead, the tags will appear as clickable blue links. This test is going to begin in Australia, and they're going to evaluate the feedback and see what's what. The father or the creator of the hashtag craze, his name is something Chris Messina, I think, that he started it on Twitter. He said this is stupid. There was a quote I forgot to copy, but he was like, "This is stupid. A hashtag without the sign. Isn't that just a keyword?"
Yeah, and keywords are hard and difficult enough to do. Having the hashtag, it helps you to, yeah.
So it will be a hashtag. It just won't have the symbol in front of the word. It'll just be a link, which is everybody saying it's stupid. It's a test in Australia, so let's hope Australia get it together and tell them you don't like it.
Get it right. Don't make us have to do some stupid stuff.
It sounds like Dwight on the first was it the first or second season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and he was with Nene and said, "Well, I heard on the radio the other day that somebody had a fashion show with no fashions. How dreadful!" So this is very dreadful that you have hashtags with no hash. What is this who hash nonsense?
I love it. That's a classic line. That line will live. Dwight, love you. That will.
We love you.
Oh, fashion show without any fashions. How dreadful. That is going to live. That's exactly what it is. So it's a test. We shall see. Let's Australia, please tell them you don't like this, so this can go away. But this is what they're doing. Instead of giving us a bookmark or a list feature, they're doing stupid stuff like that. And that is your week in social media news and updates.
Fun. Oh my gosh. Dr. Tachi, are you ready? Please.
I am.
Because this is crazy.
Yeah. So, hey everyone. I hope you're well, but I can hear from talking with you that we're all quite well, quite spirited today. So I hope everyone out there is well. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things we talked about on Mediascope and some extra. Well, I wanted to go through the SAG-AFTRA. You know, the saga is not over, and I don't
Mhm.
know if you saw. Well, right after that, what was it? 2 days after, it was last week. They had a press conference. SAG-AFTRA leadership had a press conference. Franz Drescher, who is the president, along with, and I keep forgetting his name. I need to look, but he was the lead negotiator
The other
for
guy.
the the other guy, him. He was the lead negotiator for the negotiating committee of SAG-AFTRA with the AMPTP. So last night, I don't know if you happened to catch it, but last night, so they had the press conference last week on YouTube, on Instagram, and I think some other places, but those were the two that I saw they were doing. I watched that. Last night, they had a meeting for members that was broadcast on SAG-AFTRA. I said, oh, you know, I'm going to watch this. Almost the whole 3 hours. I fell asleep because I was tired yesterday, but I woke up in time and they were still going. So I said, okay. So they actually were breaking down some of the things because, as you know, there has been some opposition by some
Mhm.
members of SAG-AFTRA. And SAG-AFTRA, it represents actors, but it also represents obviously voice actors,
Mhm.
puppeteers. You
Mhm.
know, there are entertainment professionals that are represented, 160,000 represented by SAG-AFTRA. So obviously there were some concerns. So 86% of the membership, sorry, the negotiating committee voted yes for that deal with the AMPTP, which means there were some that did not, right? And I think the biggest contention was over the AI piece of it. The AI piece was big. And Justine Bateman, you do you all remember Justine Bateman from Family Ties? But and apparently this I did not
Mhm.
know. She also went to school for computer science. So
Oh.
so she actually is a computer scientist, and she was the advisor for AI to the negotiating committee. She was not going for it at all because there were some exceptions, right? And one of the exception was basically when they are not portraying a human character, something to it's so convoluted and it was vague. So that's why Justine Bateman was like, no, that's too vague. But I guess the thing is, you know, negotiations means that some sides give and other sides give, but it feels like obviously the winning end, the house always wins. It's like Vegas. So AMPTP is always going to have a little bit of leverage, even though the union is powerful. They're never going to give up, like, okay, streaming currency that they were talking about that they were giving. They were like, oh, absolutely not. Well, we want X amount of streaming dollars that comes in per user. Absolutely not. Okay, well, how about this? I think it was 500 million, something to that effect, a percentage of that 500 million that would have come in. They were like, nope. They said, okay, how about this? They were like, nope. So then they pivoted according to the lead negotiator last night. And now last night, they said what they had to say and they opened it up for questions to the oh boy, that was interesting. So everybody congratulated the negotiators for the job that they did, but there were some that were like, look, why XYZ, to the point that it was going to go over the 3 hours. So they told the members, if you have a question, make sure that you email this and this, and we will answer it via email. Or they're also, next week I believe, they are doing a webinar, and they said that people can actually ask questions during the webinar as well. So they are attempting to have all the concerns and actions all the concerns heard, because remember, this still has to be ratified by the membership. It has not been yet. So they can say the strike and stuff is over all they like. And one of the things that was interesting, one of the actors brought her, she had a whole list of questions and they were really rhetorical, but for real, she wanted them to answer them. Why was the media alerted about the end of the strike before any of the membership was? Because if you think about it, that news came out pretty quick, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure that they had to go ahead and do it, but apparently, according to her, the media knew about it before they did. A bunch of people were clapping, so I'm going to assume that is the case. That the media heard about it first, and that should never be the case. So it was very interesting. I was listening very intently last night because for the past, actually since the strike began, I've been talking about it on Mediascope. And again, these deals are for 3 years. In 3 years, they come back to the negotiating table. And in 3 years, trust, there will have been some advances made with AI. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do at the next negotiation, table with this. So here's the thing: a lot of people are seeing the AI as an existential threat, in quotes, according to Rolling Stone. And yeah, so I'll let you know what happens with that vote and what comes of it. But there are still some sticking points with some actors. So I don't see it not being ratified necessarily, but it wouldn't surprise me if there is a large chunk of people who are opposed to it because of it. So
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think it's going to be ratified?
yeah, I honestly do, because I think that as much as I think people are very interested in getting back to work, while this is still going on, if it's not ratified, then they still have to go back, even though they've given the okay to work because the strike is over. You haven't ratified any of this. So the same conditions that you were under before still apply because no new agreement has been ratified. So I think some people are weary, and I think everybody's weary and they want to go back to work. SAG-AFTRA doesn't want to put themselves in a position that they'll be subject to the same nonsense as before. But yeah, I think it will. I would be very surprised if it did not. That would be a plot twist. Definitely. Yeah, so that's what's happening there. I'll give you more as it happens. Well, speaking of which, now, since the strike has been called off, let's talk about the ABC put out their mid-season premiere dates. So I'll give you a few. If anybody still watches traditional linear television, I know there are a few shows that people really do but like I'm looking at the list for ABC. I'm like, yeah, I can do without any of these, except I really am an Abbott Elementary fan. So Monday, January 22nd, will be the mid-season premiere of The Bachelor. And you get 2 hours. Yay, who cares? Okay. Wednesday, February 7th, you get The Conners, Not Dead Yet, Abbott Elementary, which will be a 1 hour premiere, and Judge Steve Harvey. Now, in what alternative judicial universe do we need a Judge Steve Harvey? Let's stop it.
And that's supposed to be prime time?
Yeah, 10 p.m.
What? Okay, who asked for this?
Nobody asked for this. He did, I bet. He was like, hey, let me go ahead and be a judge, I'm sure.
Okay. Isn't there law school involved with being a judge? Or?
No, this ain't a real judgment. This ain't a real court. How about that?
Because the other judge shows, they're all judges. They're retired.
Exactly. And to be honest, I don't know the premise of Judge Steve Harvey. If somebody finds it, let me know what type of quote law.
Because it's on Hulu or something. So, and I'm thinking I never saw it when it was on TV. So why is it okay?
Well, yeah. Anyway, 10 p.m. on ABC, you'll get if you're interested, Judge Steve Harvey. February 18th, American Idol comes back, and What Would You Do? I didn't even know that show was still on the air, but it is. Tuesday, February 20th, Will Trent, The Rookie, and The Good Doctor. And I'm not surprised about The Good Doctor. It has really good ratings, so I'm not surprised. Right.
And it has good stories. Yeah.
And they do have good stories. Absolutely. They have a really good writer's room.
I was watching that and I dropped it. I got to pick it back up.
Will Trent was good too. I like murder mysteries, so Will Trent was actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, that you do like the murder mysteries, so that will work for you. And then hold on.
I like the show with the lady and her son, the lady lawyer and her
Yeah,
son is
that
in the
one. But I think that's on
That was
another
pretty
network.
cute.
The lady and her son.
It's
Yeah.
he's an attorney. No, she's an attorney. And
Yes.
what is his?
Her son is a
What's
PI,
his
private
name?
investigator, lost his job or
What
something.
was his name? Todd. Yes,
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
So help
Yes,
me, Todd.
I
That's
thought
the
that
name.
was cute.
Yeah, but that's a different
It's
network.
is it I forgot the actress.
Yeah, that's not
name.
ABC. Okay,
Yeah.
so help
I
me.
thought
I was like the
CBS,
lady
I
and her
think.
son.
Yeah, Marissa
I
Gay
think
Harden.
it's CBS.
It's Marissa Gay Harden.
Yes, it's
Okay,
CBS.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
CBS. Sorry.
CBS. Yeah. No, it's okay. They're all the same to me now anyway. And then Thursday we've got 911, Grey's Anatomy, and Station 19. So we've got all those procedural dramas on Thursdays. And so that's ABC's lineup for mid-season. So they are getting back to work. Now, let's say this. It's not like they're picking up from scratch. So when we're talking about the 2025 season, next season, that's because we're talking about new shows that have not really either started shooting, they've been greenlit, they haven't started the groundwork for that. So that's what we're talking about. So these shows that are here now, you notice there are no new shows. So yeah, there we go.
William says, I'm just waiting for the final season of Stranger Things.
Oh, I have a Stranger Things story for you too. So I think I do. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. And so I've never watched Stranger Things. I've never been drawn to it, but I know it's hugely popular. So yeah, we're going to get a little bit of an extension for Stranger Things. And I'll talk about that in a minute and how. But let's talk about Disney. Disney, according to Bob Iger, the CEO of the Mouse House, says that Disney has a Frozen 4 movie in development. And yeah, he said that on
There's a 3?
I didn't know there was a 2. So
no, I knew there was a 2.
I know
They
there was
did
a 2.
3?
I didn't know about a 3.
Yeah, I'm like, would they skip over 3? They did a 3?
Yeah, I guess so.
If you have little kids, or you have, there's little kids in your life, about this. I don't have any little kids, so I was like,
yeah, I have no little kids. So
yeah, when did they get to 4?
I don't know. I'm going in here to look. I have
a sing along.
I hope not.
Sing along. I don't know.
I don't know. But he was giving a strong hint on Good Morning America about that happened. And he said this, well, I'll give you a little surprise there, Michael. Frozen. Oh, wait a minute. So Frozen 3 is in the works, and there might be a Frozen 4 in the works too. Okay. So that's why. That's why. Like, yeah, because Frozen 3 is in the works, and they're working on 2 at the same time, it seems. So there you are very confident in the fact that Frozen 3 is going to be good. All right. So I'm just saying.
Listen, look at the audience for Frozen, and it's kids. So
yeah, you're right. So they're doubling down on Elsa and Anna's story in Arendelle and the world of Frozen. So Frozen 2 in 2019 earned 1.4 billion in the global box office, with the first 2013 installment bringing in 1.2 billion. So it made even more the second time.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So Iger didn't say much about the sequel plans for Frozen, but he did add that Jen Lee, who created Frozen, the original Frozen and Frozen 2, is hard at work with her team at Disney Animation, not on 1, but 2 stories, a little scoop. So it seems like that means a Frozen 3 and a Frozen 4.
Well, listen, it makes sense because animation takes a long time to make and create and draw and all these things they have to do. So if they know that the first 2 made this much money and they're doing 3, you might as well throw 4 in there too.
Yeah, might as well get. Yeah,
might as well.
If you're cooking the thing, just cook enough for a couple of weeks.
It's like they did the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows. Was one of the last one was part 1 and part 2 because they were like they couldn't tell the story in 1 movie, so they made 2. And the studios are going like, yeah, double the money, double the fun. And so Frozen. Hey, just get in there and make a long story and chop it up into 2 movies.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. There you go.
And it's gonna sell. It's not like it's not gonna sell.
Well, let me tell you that, and we talked about this, the fact that Disney is looking into putting not 1.7, 17 billion just into Central Florida, right? And we talked about before that they're looking at putting more money into development of theme parks and theme park experiences. And to me, that felt like they're pulling back a little bit from so much content. I actually know somebody that works at Disney. And so we were talking about this. So yeah,
Disney is the king of IP.
Absolutely. So one of the experiences is going to be a Frozen experience. If they're tossing around this idea now, one could be Frozen, which it definitely will be, and
They
then the
don't
other
have one
one,
already?
huh?
Look at me going. They don't have a Frozen at
I'm sure they
at
have had like but a whole Frozen experience. I
like
don't
a
think
whole
they
theme
have.
park?
No, a part of the park where you go into the
Right, but I'm
Frozen.
thinking,
Right.
could they think that they could make like a whole so it's gonna be like a part of it. Okay,
Yeah, kind of like what there's a whole Harry Potter
yes, that's what I'm thinking,
experience.
like the whole
Right.
section.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So they're taking one of their franchises and making it, and not two, because there was also talk of doing it with Black Panther as well.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because the thing
Yeah.
is with it's hard to do sometimes with superhero stuff because that's so based on action and it's hard to do. But I can see with this, it's not that you just become Black Panther, can do all these things. It's the fact of Wakanda as an experience. It's the fact they built this whole world, this whole land.
They would have to be very careful. Yeah, they would very carefully plan that one. Like Frozen, okay, that's a no-brainer. Little kids, they're not looking at every detail, but you doing Wakanda, oh, it's gonna be some people. Well, this is not right. The experience has to be planned very carefully.
Absolutely. But if it goes well, it could be amazing if it's done well. Like I could see, remember with what's the thing with the small blue things that lived in a tree? Help me.
Smurfs?
No.
The blue thing. Oh,
Avatar. Uh-huh.
Blue things. I can only think of Smurfs.
Smurfs, okay.
Smurfs,
Yeah,
Avatar, all the same.
Wakanda world might work.
Yeah,
it could work because they've done the way they did Harry Potter, and they stayed true to that culture and that ecosystem, that community. Like that community would be like looking at, like I said, looking at everything and this isn't the right color butterbeer or right thing or in the whatever the village, and that's the kind of thing that Wakanda world would be under a scrutiny under a microscope.
Right.
I think it would be amazing though if you did that, because that would mark the first time that an actual experience was based around African characters and Black characters.
But they could not do a misstep, because we would not let that go. You know
Absolutely
what I'm saying?
Not. We would come in there and cosplaying our
That's
Coming
what
to
I
America
mean.
stuff.
Like the experience, everything, the quality, everything. They would have to plan that so carefully, and it could be done.
Oh, it absolutely can be done. I mean, if they could do a movie and they brought on Ryan Coogler, there's no reason that they can. And they have the money to pay for.
And don't just throw any old thing out and say, "Here's Wakanda." We're like, that's not.
No, they would definitely need to have. This would be an expensive venture, and they would definitely need to have consultants on board to ensure that this is the way. Even though Wakanda is imaginary, it's an amalgamation of a lot of different African countries. So, yeah, the political and socioeconomic, racial environment may have an influence on Wakanda world. Absolutely, I think it would be amazing.
I would love to see it. I'm not saying not doing it. They would have to
get it right.
The I's, cross the T's, everything seamless. Like I don't want to
And this is different than any other franchise that they have. Completely different, because even though it's fantasy in a sense. It is based and rooted in reality, and based and rooted in the reality of several different groups of people. So they would have to definitely get this right. But I want to see. I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, I
Frozen,
would too.
whatever. I don't have kids. That's fine. You know, I have little kids. That's fine. But you know,
Yeah, the Wakanda, like I said, the Wakanda experience would be the adult level Disney stuff, and like Frozen, that's a that's a no brainer. They've done it. They've done that little, on that kids level. It's been done. So
exactly. All they have to do is put out a an ice rink and have
put
Olaf
that
and dance.
snowman
That's
out
good enough
there.
for them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the snow guy, the little funny snow guy, man, whatever.
Yeah, Olaf.
Olaf. That I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, I only remember that because here they do light up the beach, and the beach they do it at Las Olas Boulevard, and the snowman's name, they put a snowman there, a beach snowman called Olas. So that's the only reason I remembered.
Oh boy.
So that's happening with that. Let's move on to the Snoop D-O-double-G. I don't know why this is news, but I figured since it is, I'm going to put it out there. He claims he is quitting smoking and he's asking for privacy on that time. So essentially, he is dropping smoking like it's hot.
Yeah, I saw his post.
Smoking what?
Smoking stuff. Cannabis.
Okay, no, I'm just saying because he's stopping smoking, but does that mean he's stopping smoking what he's known for smoking?
Well,
yes,
cannabis. He can go to gummies.
Exactly.
Go to gummies or whatever the other form is.
Well, I don't know that he is doing like cold turkey, no cannabis or cannabis accessories at all. But he said this: after much consideration and conversation with my family, I've decided to give up smoke. He wrote on Instagram, please respect my privacy at this time. Okay. So
and he said smoke.
Yes, he did say smoke. So he said, so this is what the Hollywood Reporter is saying, that the statement doesn't say that he's giving up cannabis per se, like I'm saying. So obviously there are other options like edibles, etc. So yeah, that's the thing. So he said earlier that he was cutting down on smoking after becoming a grandfather. He said this: being a grandfather has changed me in multiple ways. The main way is being concerned with how I live, how I move, the kind of people I'm associated with, because I want to see my grandkids grow old. The only way I can do that is to take precautionary steps as far as how I move, who I hang out with, where I go, my intake, what I'm intaking. Am I doing extracurricular, or am I just doing what I'm supposed to be doing? So
healthy habits.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Hollywood Reporter is also saying this: long thought to be relatively harmless, recent studies have suggested that marijuana use is more damaging than previously believed. Two large longitudinal studies have suggested marijuana use can impair cognitive abilities to a sizable and significant degrees. Well, that explains a lot of people anyway. So so yeah, that's his thing. And if that's what he decides he wants to do, that is fine. And it said, fans were like confused. Why? If he doesn't want to do it anymore, that's fine.
Make an announcement?
But that's why I'm like, why is this news? Yeah. Also, you could say, why am I announcing it? But I'm announcing it because it is media news, and this is what media.
No, not you. I'm saying
not you.
No, I know, not me.
Oh, okay.
I've been saying it. People are saying, well, you're telling it. I'm like, well, I am, because this is media news and is demonstrative of what news sometimes chooses to focus on. The things that are non sequiturs, the things that are useless knowledge. So, yeah. So, Godspeed to you, Snoop Dogg. Didn't you used to be called Snoop Lion? What happened? Anyway.
Okay.
Who knows?
That went out. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Broadway and musicals. There's a Tammy Faye musical with music by Elton John coming out. Planned. Yes. Hello. Hello. I know, but does anybody ever ask for these things? They just do it and apologize later. So the music is going to be by Elton John, and they're planning for a 2024-2025 Broadway run, and it's already made its world premiere in London at the Almeida Theatre in fall of last year. So if you don't know who Tammy Faye is, Tammy Faye Baker was
Yeah,
a televangelist, right? And she and
right.
her husband Jim Baker were convicted, if I'm not mistaken, of like embezzling millions from the organization. There, what was it? The organization called?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't either, but they had they were televangelists, so they had a weekly broadcast, and you are healed, and they had people giving money, and they were, Tammy Faye. The joke was always the
The
mascara
mascara running from
running, yes,
crying.
because she was
Mhm.
caught fake crying or whatever. And so, in addition to the music by John Elton John, that features lyrics by Scissor Sisters Jake Shears and a book by James Graham, the playwright of Ink, which followed Rupert Murdoch's rise to power in the UK. So it's coming to Broadway after making its world premiere in London with Katie Braben starring as Tammy Faye and Andrew Rannells starring as her husband and television co-host Jim Baker. So, but we don't know that they are going to continue on because the casting for the Broadway run has not been announced. But the production is going to appear at the in a Nederlander theater. So I'm sure you know more about that than I do, Terry, since you're in New York.
Right. They're putting it in the Nederlander.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Listen, Broadway. There's certain shows. How can I put this? There's
That's what.
certain shows on Broadway that they're geared towards the tourists versus the people that live in New York, and I
Thank
think
you.
this is one for the tourists.
Thank you, because no New Yorker is going to say, "Hey, let's go. Let's have a
We're
night
not
out at the
no,
Tampa Bay." Nobody is going to see that. That's a New Yorker. That audience is
The
going to
Broadway that New Yorkers go to are the plays, the dramas, the Aladdins and the this and the that, the Disneyfication stuff.
That's for the Times Square people.
That's all tourists, and if you have little kids that want to go see the Frozen or
We
the
go
this
see
or
the
the that,
critically
but
acclaimed things. We go see the Felas. We go see the plays and things like that. If we do see
right,
musicals,
and
we're
this
seeing
this
critically
one
acclaimed.
this one would appeal to Middle America because they know who Tammy Faye Baker is.
But dude, how long ago was that we don't even care right now?
I agree.
I just like I really don't, but I think they are going off of the because there was a film in 2021, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, that starred Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield. Yeah, I don't know how popular that was, but I guess that, listen, everybody is grasping at these perpetual straws.
Yeah, there's two Broadways, so there's one that
don't go
because people forget New York City is a tourist town. Is based on tourism. They got to get tourists here, and so those are some of the things that they do. And then when we live here, I don't go to Times Square. I avoid it at all costs. There's nothing there I want. I used to go when my daughter was small. There was a Toys R Us because you got to buy toys and stuff. This was before the internet and all that. But they shut down that Toys R Us store years ago. And so I'm like, there's nothing I want there. There's too many people, too much. Blah. No, so I don't go. We avoid it unless you work in Times Square. We avoid Times Square.
Absolutely.
But it is thing that brings the tourists, and tourists bring the dollars, and that's the tax money for the city. So we're like, yay, bring on Tammy Faye.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing about New York that's very different about it compared to any other tourist city is that there are actually people that live there. Does that make any sense? That are native and that live there and work there? Because in addition to the tourism, it's also the heart of finance for the country.
Yes.
There's a huge financial district.
Yes.
There are a lot of different
and then there's
things.
The art.
There's the art. Huge in the arts. There's the university system, one of the best university systems in the country. So there are other things, unlike when you go to Orlando. And I'm sorry, I've just been on an Orlando rag, I guess, this week. Orlando, it's like Orlando, Central Florida is meth and pills. I'm sorry. It is you've got theme parks, meth and pills. That's what you have in Central Florida. They're trying to make it better, but I'm like, you can't change what you are, boo-boo. I'll give yourself a few years, but right now you are theme parks, meth, and pills, and so it's different than other places. And I'm
Right.
sorry if I offended anybody. I really am not. If I offended you and you're from Orlando, you need to know. And then really, who is from Orlando?
They if they live in Orlando, they know.
You know
They know what time
exactly,
it is.
exactly. Suck it up and
They know.
know that it's the truth. Okay.
They know. And I mean, like you said, just getting up just for a second, that New York City's all these things, but it's really the heart of it is a tourist town. We need tourist people to come and spend the money for the restaurants, for the this, for the that. And you hear about rich people living here, but they haven't been here in the last couple of years. They live on Long Island or wherever their other third, second house is. So that kind of leads it to where it's working people. Honestly, and then you have the layer on top of the Broadway and this, and it's like I don't do that stuff.
Exactly.
Unless it's something I really want to see, like The Color Purple, like years ago. I wanted to see that, but it's not like I'm going to see this Tammy Faye thing because I'm like, no, I don't want to. Not interested at all. So there's a level of okay, we need to bring people that are coming in from Middle America and other places, and they're interested in this, and so we kind of put that show on, but the real New Yorker goes to the play.
But are they really interested in this?
This particular one, I don't know who thought of this wine, but I'm just saying that like things that would appeal
in London. Maybe in London it was a spectacle or something. Because
it's the spectacle of it that made it work. And oh, you silly Americans, look at you! It was a spectacle of it. But you know what? Maybe you've got some people from Oklahoma, Texas, from Bible Belt places that visit, and you know they always come to visit New York City and say, "Look at this big old this M&M store. Did you see this, Jim Bob?" Okay, so you know,
yes.
You have some people, sorry but you know it's true because whenever I haven't been to Times Square since 2015. The Urban World Film Festival held the screenings at a theater in Times Square. I was like, wow, all right.
Don't go to it. Sounds glamorous, people. Times Square is dirty and nasty. I'm gonna put it like that.
It is, but you know what? There is a little bit of fun. It's a little
unless you're going to a show, you're going to get accosted by all the people in the superhero costumes trying to get a picture
and
with
not even doing it well. I'm like, can you put your mask down so we at least have a little bit of fantasy? I don't want to see your face. Smoking in the. I'm just like, come on now. I don't want to see a smoking Elmo. Can we not?
It's not.
No, but I mean that's the charm of the place. But in any case,
we could talk about this all day, but let's move on.
In any case, let's if you're interested, they're opening in next year, so or 2025. Sorry, 24.
Let's see if it makes it.
We'll see if it makes it, and I'll let you know. I did want to see something because I pulled this up, and. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about Spotify. So Spotify, the music streaming company, is going to launch an advertising marketplace for podcasts in 5 new markets, including Sweden and India. So they first launched the Spotify Audience Network in 2021, and it's available now in 9 countries like Germany and the US for podcast publishers and creators to be able to monetize their content. So they've invested over $1 billion to build up their podcasting business, in case you didn't know, with 5 million titles and 100 million podcast listeners. So they're focusing on boosting advertising revenue from the format, which makes sense. And this is what Brian Berner, the global head of advertising sales at Spotify, said. Quote, "We often hear from our customers that they have been reticent to invest in podcasts because of the lack of audience targeting and challenges reaching podcast listeners at scale." So the Spotify Audience Network addresses these 2 challenges head on. So in the latest third quarter earnings, Their advertising revenue was up 16% from a year earlier, and podcast advertising revenue grew in a double-digit range. What does this tell us? Podcasts are still hot. Okay, don't let the thing of people, oh, the pandemic's over now, the people aren't really listening. Maybe there's a slight dip, but podcasts are still hot. People still have to, I mean, look at places like New York, or even places where people are commuting. Doesn't matter, but major cities where people are commuting, people are traveling, what are they listening to? Not terrestrial radio. They're listening to things like Sirius XM, but they're listening to podcasts, right?
Mhm.
So there we go. It's funny. William said Ohio was meth, trank, and fentanyl. Yeah, that sounds about right. Off of our previous conversation. Okay, I just have a couple of more, and then I guess we're going to go. Or yeah, just a couple more. So let's talk about the decline in local news outlets. Yeah, so we already know this, but according to AP, the decline of local news in the U.S. is speeding up despite publishers, etc., paying attention to the issue, to the point where the nation has lost 1/3 of its newspapers and 2/3 of its newspaper journalists since 2005. So an average of 2.5 newspapers closed each week this year, compared to 2 a week the previous year. And that's a reflection of a worsening advertising climate, according to a Northwestern University study. And this just came out yesterday. Most of these are weekly publications in areas with few or no other sources for news. So Tim Franklin heads the local news initiative at Northwestern's Medill Journalism School. And he says, my concern is that the acceleration that we're seeing is only going to worsen. So at the current pace, the country will hit 3,000 newspapers closed in 2 decades sometime next year, with just under 6,000 newspapers remaining, according to the report. And at the same time, 43,000 newspaper journalists lost jobs, most of them at daily publications, with the advertising market collapsing. So this lets you know how that we need another system in addition to advertising. Media has been supported almost solely by advertising since the beginning of time. I'm talking about the days of yellow journalism, the 1800s with newspaper, when they figured out that people would pay to put their products in there. The advertising age took off. I mean, in fact, isn't there a magazine called Advertising Age? Yes. So we are still in the advertising age, and we haven't really figured out other methods of monetization. Okay, you can say subscriptions, but subscriptions don't really work well, especially not in print. I mean, if we're looking at subscriptions going down or this level of churn, I'm guilty of it, and I'm raising my hand. You can't see me, but I will for a client, because there is a newspaper article that I want, and they're like, hey, get this, you get this article and a month free, or a month for like $2. I'll pay that $2 and cancel right before. That's churn. Okay, so that happens a lot, and this is because now newspapers, magazines, they're trying to put things behind paywalls, but that wasn't always the way. They just figured, not understanding, I just need to be online and put my stuff online. So everybody put all their stuff out there for free. We have become used to free and cheap. And so now you want me to pay, but that's not what it was before. And I'm okay. I can wean myself off of this, right? So I'm not surprised with it. And part of this, if we talk about the decline in papers, remember, the newspapers, there are people that love the feel of the paper. I understand. I love the New York Times. That's something that I absolutely love. And having a hard copy of the New York Times is nostalgic. Is it something that I want to do all the time? No, because I read papers and things online. But it's nostalgic. So who likes nostalgia? Older people. Younger people are not replacing these readers, and you have done nothing to draw them in.
Nope.
Damn it, Gen Z can barely read. They can't write in cursive, let alone read.
Gen Z gets their news from TikTok. That is growing more and more every day. So
exactly. And you don't have to read anything on TikTok. get annoyed when there's words on the screen. So I don't know where you think younger reads. So you have to do something. And the problem is too, and I don't want to say this for everybody, but the thing is, there's so much about legacy. And this person, such person, has years and years in the bit, and I understand about experience, but because you have not taken the initiative to have younger people involved at decision-making levels, in advisory levels, you still have the same old, well, I've been in the business for 30-something years. That's right, which means 30-something years ago is when you started. That is your frame of reference. 30-something years ago, and you don't understand technology, you don't understand these things. So essentially, you are taking the advice of people who know nothing about this and not the people who you're trying to reach. Take it from me. Get in touch with the people you're trying to reach. It will be so much better for you. Yes. And so the final thing I'm going to talk about is the Stranger Things. So two things really quickly. Today, Andre 3000's album dropped. If you are an Outkast fan, or and you've been waiting to know when Andre 3000's album is, it dropped today. Outkast released their last album in 2006. Wow. And this album is called New Blue Sun. And it was like a surprise. And I have to listen to it, but this is an all instrumental album of different types of music. It is not a hip hop album. It is not rap.
Okay.
So check that out. And hold on. Where is my Stranger Things?
William says CeeLo is going to be in his town this month.
Oh, really? Now, see, here's the thing. I am a New Yorker, but I am a huge fan of old school Atlanta hip hop, like early 2000s Atlanta hip hop, Goody Mob, Outkast. I really, really like them. There's something about their flow and something about their music. Really good. Absolutely. Okay. I don't know what I did with the hold on. Give me just a minute, William. I think I clicked out of it.
While you do that, I'm gonna real quickly say I forgot one story about ChatGPT, that they shut down their ChatGPT Plus subscriptions this week because the demand was so great because of the announcement about the custom GPTs. So, and because they shut down that, actually they shut it down. That means they shut down no new money, because it's $20 a month. So then people was selling their Chat GPT subscriptions on eBay.
Shut up.
Yep. That you cannot sign up for Chat GPT Plus. They shut it down on Wednesday. You cannot sign up if you're not a subscriber.
See, this is why we can't have nice things.
Because the demand was so overwhelming, because they had a developer conference last week and announced all these great things. So people, and some of the things was because you had to be a subscriber. Like the free version, you can't make custom GPTs. So people want to make the custom GPTs because there's going to be a custom GPT store.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Right. Remember that.
Yes.
Right. So you had to be a subscriber. So people were subscribing right after the announcement, and they had to shut the new subscribers down. So and it's effectively turned off money. That's like turning a faucet off of money.
Right, because I was like, you're getting $20 a month, which I think is interesting. But
then on top of that, the people who have Chat GPT Plus are complaining because it's slow, because they had to slow everything down because of the demand of use.
Well, I'll just stay over here in my little not paid subscription and just enjoy my little ChatGPT where I'm at.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, because I saw that they're saying that people are selling their subscriptions on eBay, like for more than $20.
I don't like that nonsense. You're messing it up for the rest of us.
Yeah, so there you go.
Wow. No, and I was really interested in the whole concept of creating your own GPTs. Very interested in that.
Oh, I was gonna talk about it, so I'm gonna save mine. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it.
You
Okay,
got
so
to come in on
okay.
Tuesday and hear the rest of the story.
Yes. So finally, since we have that, I promised I was going to talk about things. It may be the final season of Stranger Things, but here's the thing. The first shadow is just beginning on London's West End. So it's Stranger Things, The First Shadow, and it's going to be a prequel play to Stranger Things. So it's taking fans back in time to Hawkins High in 1959 before John Hopper took in a strange child called 11. Joyce Maldonado's son went missing, and Bobby Newby was mauled by the demagogues. Oh gosh. And so it's interesting because Stranger Things takes place in the 80s. So this is a prequel to this set, as I said, in 1959. So that is the news and you can guess. Often things that premiere in London's West End end up here as well. So it is a play. Okay, so you heard about it. Yeah, absolutely. So that is where it's going to go. So even though this is the final season, I don't think we're done with Stranger Things yet. So look for that, London's West End, and I can almost say with 100% certainty that it will be over here in the States as well. If it does well on the West End, they'll bring it here.
I heard something about Stranger Things doing some the spinoffs with Hooper and how he got started. So that might be this. I'm not sure, but I've seen all three of them. I was like, yeah, okay. All three seasons, but they're doing something with a spinoff of Hooper and his whole life prior to. And that might be what you're referring to.
That could be this. Again, I'm not a Stranger Things fan. So
that may very well be it. I've seen something. I was like, oh, so now we're doing spinoffs.
So there, one question, they're doing a prequel. Could they do like a forward? Like they could be older, like in the future? They could do that too?
You know what? Probably that will be it, because you know what happens? A franchise as popular as this, they try to squeeze everything they can out of it.
Yeah.
Every damn drop of whatever they spend. And I'm not mad at them. I would absolutely find different ways. It's like repurposing social media content. There's like, okay, well, you can do this with this. You can chop it up and do this. You can fast forward. You can go back, rewind.
Yeah, just a thought. I was like, if they can do the prequel, they can do the future quel, whatever they call it.
And the future. Hopper says, he says, I have the Hopper boots too. Yes, and how many Batmans do we have?
Tons.
17 million.
We went backwards, forward, sideways with Batman.
There's a lot of Spider-Mans too.
Right.
Because there are a lot of Spider-Verses.
Right. So like forward, backwards, sideways, because they left you. What was the movie that I watched? Flash.
Yeah.
Okay, they left you with a hanger. Yeah, a hanger. I'm like, hey, that wasn't the same Batman that was started. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, this Batman here. I'm like, he has a wonky chin. It looks like. It's not, usually you're used to your superheroes with very strong angular features, no matter what. This one has, like, his chin got smashed.
Right.
Real quick, speaking of superheroes, wasn't Dr. Taji, didn't some movie come out and it didn't?
Yeah, the Marvels.
Yeah.
Is it out?
Yeah, it came out.
See, they did something different. They did not do the normal build up like they do.
They did not. They didn't. Okay. They didn't build it up at all.
Right.
I didn't even know. And I pay attention to this stuff. And somebody said the Marvels. I said, the Marvels? When did it?
There was some story about disappointing box office. That's all I saw.
It was very disappointing, and I think they didn't put I hate to lean on the same tropes, but there are two things at play here. Too many Marvel movies coming out back to back to back to back. But if for true Marvel fans, that shouldn't really matter, because we're always wanting things. Or B, the fact that this was all women led, and so you did not put the amount of energy into it. That, and to me, that's what it was.
Yeah, because they did not publicize this at all.
No.
Look, Loki had more play than this.
Yeah, exactly. I think that from the get, they may not have had a strong belief in it. They may have other plans of like, well, that's fine because we're going to take this straight to, we're going to take this to video very soon anyway, or streaming very soon anyway, or this is something that will play well in international market, in the international box office. So we don't really care that much about the American or North American box office. I don't know, but they didn't put there was no marketing. If you can, and this is how I know, if you can take a whole damn movie about a doll who wears pink and turn it into a marketing juggernaut, you can do the same for this. You chose not to.
They did not.
The article I read, they're blaming the strike.
It's not the strike. No, they did not market this movie. It had nothing to do with the strike.
The strike was on when Barbie and stuff came out, and Oppenheimer. That's rubbish.
I read the article and I was like, okay, this is what they're saying. Oh, because of the SAG actors strike, they couldn't promote it and blah blah blah. So it's
somebody
they couldn't promote Barbie or Oppenheimer either. They had to take, because remember, this was June. May and June. So this was before the summer. But they managed to get around it. You couldn't promote. That is rubbish. Yeah, you couldn't promote and do. And so maybe granted, they had a little more lead time with Oppenheimer and Barbie where they could start doing things. But remember, these were the things of the summer, not because of the press junkets and things that were done. It was all the other creative marketing and pulling in products with it. Every single store, every single women's store had a Barbie collection, from Zara to Walmart to Target. Everybody had that. So the tie-ins were what really did it. And there was hype. You could have done something similar with this, and you cannot blame the strikes. That's you and your poor marketing.
I agree. But that's what they're going. That's the narrative they're going with. Oh, the strike. I was like, okay, yeah, that's real convenient.
Go sit down.
It was very convenient.
And I'm done. I know we're way over, but I'm done.
Well, thank you all. This has been a lively conversation. William, thank you for joining us, and all of you who have joined us live and on the replay. Thank you so very much for being a part of Tech Life Weekly. We will be back on Monday. And let's see. Oh, yeah, that will be before the holidays. So come on back on Monday. We'll have a little coffee conversation. Tuesday, TJ will be back, and she will talk to us about some more interesting things coming up on the horizon for social media. Wednesday, Dr. Tachi has Media Scope. Look for that while you're out and about on Instagram and on all our other channels. Thursday is Happy Healthy Habits with Robin Shimizu, which was actually probably going to be a replay because that is Thanksgiving. So we want you all to enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. Spend some time with family and friends, or however you do, whether it's a movie, whether it's streaming. Stranger Things for 3 sessions, whatever you do. But and then come back next Friday. We'll be here and we'll talk it up. Bring your turkey sandwich or whatever from
your leftovers
from Thanksgiving, and join us for
turkey jerky.
Yay! Weekly. Thank you so much. If you're not a part of the BizChicks community, you can do that by going to bizchicks.net. Let me find that. Or you can text biz to 33777. However you do it, join the community here. And we want to say thank you for doing so. And we will see you on Monday. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Bye.